Hello and welcome back to the PUBG Mobile Club Open Fall Split of 2019. My name is Brainstorm. I am joined by Smash, and it is time, well, it's a new day, and it's time for a new region for us. We were taking a look at the wildcard region last night. We now move to look at the South American region, And if you want to get involved in all of the action, make sure you subscribe to the PUBG Mobile Esports channel on YouTube. And if you want, you can go and download PUBG Mobile from the Google Play Store or the App Store, depending on your platform, and get involved. Smash, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, and there's a lot to get involved in. There's got a new region, it's South America, as you mentioned. There's a lot of passionate fans from South America, a lot of passionate teams, and I'm expecting some high-level gameplay out of today.
Excellent. Well, that is indeed what we're hoping for. It's the same map rotation that we had yesterday. If you were watching, well, any of the other regions, I think they all use the same maps for day number 1. Erangel, Sanhok, Miramar, Erangel again is where we'll end up. So 4 matches for the day, 4 of the 24 for the first stage of things here. So a lot of PUBG Mobile to be played. Now, question for you. Yesterday, I mean, obviously there was a lot of PUBG that we didn't watch, but the PUBG Mobile stuff that we did do, our best or highest scoring game was EnxameGaming Erangel, game number 1, 37 points, 20 for the chicken dinner, 17 kills. Do you reckon we'll see that beaten today?
Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. We'll see. But today we do have the Group A and B playing off. This is the groups and how they work out. The group stage matches, 24 of them. Then we eliminate 8 to go to the semi-finals. 24 matches again. We'll eliminate another 8 down to the top 16, which will only be 10 matches to decide who wins the regional finals.
So there's a lot of games in front of us, and starting off pretty calmly, I suppose, with the group stages. As bottom 8 go out, but there's a lot of games to be played. Only 10 in that final stage, though. And if you do want to avoid that bottom 8, you're going to need some points, and this is how you're looking to get them. 20 points for a chicken dinner, 14 for second place, 10 points for third, plus 1 point for every kill that you gain. And those points do drop off pretty quickly as we start moving down the positions. So getting yourself up in that top 3, even taking a chicken dinner if you can, is going to be very important.
And here we have some of the teams today who will be competing. Group A and Group B. The likes of Cream Esports in there. Intz is also in there. Some big names coming through. I'm excited to see Batman, though. They've got the Batmen. They've got a good name. Got a good logo.
They do indeed.
It worked well yesterday for the good logo teams. So I want to see Batman have a big day.
Hard Drop as well have themselves a pretty good name. So
there's also Brazilian Killers in Group A, who were the winners of last season. They have changed a few members, but I'm expecting them to come out pretty strong still.
So we'll have to see if that is indeed the case. But look, it's too early to call favourites just yet, because as you said, the winners from last season, that's really the only thing we have to go off in this region, because these teams would play each other a bit, but the winners of last season have changed, I think, 2 players since that last split, so things are not the same as they were, and of course, we'll be hoping, and they'll be hoping, that their roster changes lead to an improvement, but we can't really call that until we jump into the server.
Yeah, of course. I mean, sometimes these regions shuffle around a lot. It's the same kind of where we're from, AU and Z. There's a lot of shuffling around in there.
Oh boy.
These smaller regions, they do shuffle, try and find the perfect chemistry, try and find the perfect roster, so maybe they have upgraded, or maybe there's a new king to be crowned.
Maybe so. I mean, the only way we're really going to find out is by jumping in. So, once again, Erangel to start us off. Sanhok, Miramar, Erangel again will be our 4 games for the day. And you said yesterday we're aiming for sort of 40 points is like the benchmark for where you want to be after 4 games. Unless, of course, you're S&G who got 90 after 4 games.
Well, I mean, 40 points is kind of like you're safe. You're definitely safe there. You're probably sitting around anywhere between 5th, 6th, 7th in your group. 40 points, end of the day, I'd be happy with walking away from that in this first group stage. Just because you're trying to learn what teams are doing, and you will get a feel of the game as well. The pace of the game, it's a bit more different in this tournament because there's only 20 points for the chicken dinner, not 30 as previous tournament. So teams are playing a little bit quicker, valuing those kill points a lot more, as we saw yesterday, lots of hot drops.
Yeah, we did see, I think all 4 of our games that we saw yesterday in the wildcard region had a squad wipe in the first 5 minutes or so. So we'll see if that continues to be the thing. And as you said, there's a lot of value in going for high kill games, even if your placements aren't as good. We had multiple teams who were getting, they've been finishing like top 8 or so, but with 5 to 10 kills for their team and still getting a decent amount of points. And if you can do that, you're almost getting as many points as you would for like a 3rd or 2nd place finish.
Yeah, and those kill points can accrue pretty quickly, especially at the end of the game where you're in the last like 5 or 6 squads. The chances of you getting a kill is pretty high if you keep that 4 alive. We saw yesterday the teams that had 4 alive going into the end top 5 teams, they did pretty well. We did see some sneaky 2-man squads though. RS was one of them that managed to pull a win out of nowhere, it seemed.
But I think pretty much both times that we had a 4-man squad still up in the final circle, that 4-man squad won.
Yeah, and that's a good thing to see, because that obviously means that the players are composed and they're making the right decisions going into the late game, which is kind of what you want to see. You don't want to see people choking and fluffing their shots.
I think the only The only game that was sort of different from that yesterday was our third
Sanhok
game
as well had a 2-man the RS on the high ground. They managed to pick off some players. Yeah,
I don't think that was against a 4-man, but then the other one we had a 1v1v2 for the 4 players left, and it managed to go into the 1v1. One player mowed down the 2 players who were up for the other team. So I think it was one of the good boys guys who got some kills. I think it might have even been RS. I can't remember.
Yeah.
There's a lot of PUBG that we've watched already. But look, moving into South America, I think we're going to see hopefully a lot of the same. Hopefully a lot of exciting games. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case. I would hope so at this point. We are now getting ready to jump into Erangel for match number 1. This is the OG map, the beta map. It's been around for the longest time.
It is generally the player favorite just because it has been around for so long. Players know it very well, know all the drop locations, the rotations, the high grounds, the low grounds. So players can play around it very well. I want to see some fast action here out of South America, some aggression, as we do have the red plane skin going across the map. And it is a southwest to northeast drop. There's a lot of area in play here. Milta Power is pretty much the only thing that would be a bit of a stretch to get to, but even then, we're going straight over car spawns, so there is a chance that a team takes a journey out into the blue to get some loot.
Could see pretty much any drop be possible at this point.
A lot of teams dropping early.
Yeah, a lot of teams are out. We're only just passing Gatka, and it looks like most of the lobby is already out of the plane. Let's see how many are left just yet, but it certainly looks like we might have some early conflict here just based on all of these teams and just now getting out. Still a few teams dropping late, but looks like we're going to have a heavy concentration in this western half of the map. So if the circle pops over east, this could be a bit of a scramble.
Yeah, it looks like it will be a bit of a scramble just to get into that circle if it does pop east. We'll know it soon enough as the last of the squads getting out of this plane. It looks like a lot of action towards that ferry pier region. Teams vying for that control, so maybe Sovnovska will come into play. Teams might go down there to get some loot. Gatka, interestingly enough, on the plane path was untouched.
See if that remains the case. We don't want to rotate through there for some extra loot, but looking like we haven't had any kills to start us off just yet.
We got some fellas running around trying to look for a car. Unfortunately, they weren't able to find one at all yet. Teams coming in, scouting each other out. My man's looking up to the sky, praying to the heavens that he has a good game on the side of DRM. So you see the first circle do pop. It is very central, actually. It just only the military base is really ruled out at the moment. Roshok smack bang in the center of that. No team's going to be stuck in rotation. Obviously, the southwestern teams will have to rotate in, but they have a lot of room around Gatka Fields, a lot of room around South Pachinki as well to come in. So I don't expect any teams to struggle too much. The early conflict doesn't look like it's on the cards for this game, unfortunately. I was really excited to see if there was going to be more of that, because that was really just a defining point yesterday, with especially 404 managing to get all those kills so early on. There's a big moment in the game. As we see the side of DRM just continuing to run around for these cars. This is precious looting time that they're not able to attain. He's running around with a level 1 helmet, shotgun, and some bandages. It's not where you want to be. He finds a buggy. Thrilled to see that.
It's naked though. Could do with some clothing, some armor.
Gets rather cold as we see the Georgia Paul crates being taken over by INS. So there's more action towards the center of the circle. The shooting range is being taken out by Ace. Ace have most of the north side of the map, so if the circle does shift to the north, they're going to be in a great position here coming through. Already established as Intz has decided to move on to the eastern coast. They'll be looting around the prison area, around the mansion. Again, there's just no real early conflict as Real move towards Nova, so everyone's spread out pretty fairly at the moment. Seems to be no troubles getting your loots in this game.
Bit of a slower start from what we saw yesterday, and certainly a slower start than what I was expecting, given how many of these teams came out of the plane in its first 30 seconds or so of passing over the map. I thought for sure we'd have some hot dropping going on, but it looks like everyone has been able to separate out. We've got 2 teams on the prison island, quite a few still scattered over this western side, but the majority of the teams are in this circle. It is quite a central one, so pretty much everyone is either looting inside the circle or not too far away from getting into it. So shouldn't be any real issues just yet for any of these teams until the rotations start to come out.
Yeah, we see that the circle is mostly land as well. There's only very few. There's only the river really for the water, so all of it's pretty much playable. So these teams haven't been forced on top of each other just yet. We could see that with a shift, but at the moment, everything seems to be hunky-dory for the fellas in the lobby. Can't imagine anything going on too much at the moment, as we see just more looting around Severny for the boys from Ace. They are going to be geared to the teeth. Severny, a high drop rate area. That church always has some goodies in it, especially if you've been praying to the RNG gods.
They've also got a player over at shooting range as well, so they've got an awful lot of time and space to loot here. Nobody even near them in that top part of the map. They've actually got the entire, well, not quite. There is one team over in Georgia Pole, but they've got the entire top sort of island section of the map. It's not quite an island, the river doesn't go all the way through, but either way, most of the map is theirs. They've got plenty of time to figure out what they want to do. Interestingly enough, looking at Chaco here, this is the first time so far in our games we've seen a player take a melee weapon that wasn't a pan.
Yeah, I don't know what he's got there. He's got the sickle on his back. Maybe he's just picked that up out of instinct, just in case he got into an early fight, but I don't think he'll be using that this game. So we see more ace players running around Severny.
Oh,
They haven't
grab the
managed to
helicopter, easy.
Yeah, exactly. They just take the helicopter and get on out of there. So they do find a buggy, but they'll be looking for a bit more vehicles, especially if they need to rotate to that south island or south part of the map. Could be quite difficult getting over those bridges.
It depends on where this circle shifts, of course, but still not even a gunfight yet. Not only have we had no knocks or kills, but I'm not even sure there's been a shot fired anywhere on the map.
Well, we haven't heard a shot fired just yet, but I think that's going to start kicking off soon as teams have finished their loot and they're looting, and they'll come into the rotations now. They are moving more central towards Rosehawk, towards Watertown. Top of Pachinki as well, going to be occupied by a few teams. The fields of Pachinki can be quite deadly to the east and the south. So you don't want to get caught out there, especially if a team takes Pachinki early. They could set themselves up for a really rough game, or a really good game, I should say.
The real guys continuing with their looting, finding a lot of gear screwed around these crates. So they've all got weaponry, level 3, some level 3 armor, level 3 backpack. Got them guns and everything else they would need as well, some heals. So pretty much uncontested with anything they could want in that area. So still the looting for them is looking good.
It's looking fantastic. There's no bridge campers in this game just yet, so the people from the military base island will be able to get there. As we see, 6-9. Yeah, 6-9 are just kind of clearing out the bridge, being very hesitant. They're quite worried about if there was bridge campers, but there won't be. As they move now towards the fields, pushing in towards the center of the circle, they will be greeted by some teams. You can see them being very hesitant to come in there. As Pedro comes through. He's pretty low on meds, actually. No first aid kits, no med kits. Low on stims as well, so he's not as looted as he'd like. He has the level 3 helmet and level 3 backpack though, and that's key. That level 3 helmet is so powerful, you can sustain a one-shot from a sniper rifle to the head. Had to use that a few times, as my head is quite big in these games apparently.
Everyone can just spot it and all their bullets magnet to it.
Exactly.
I know the feel, man.
The amount of times I've been shot by a Car 98 and lived on 1 HP from a level 3 helmet, it's outstanding piece of technology, that.
6-9, by the way, are in 4 different cars here, so they've got a lot of space to maneuver with. We've seen quite a few teams get stuck in sort of 1 or 2 cars for their rotations earlier on yesterday, but 6-9 have had time to loot. They've got some level 3 armor or helmets spread out amongst their guys, so they've got a decent amount of meds as well, and 4 vehicles, so plenty of space for them to move around here.
Yeah, they're going to be very happy. They've got the bike up front, scouting it out pretty much, letting them know where the shots are. It is very hard to hit a man on a bike. They are very small hitboxes and they move very quickly. So having him scouted out. So you see shots kind of raining in towards Pachinki, and I don't think anything's going to come of it just yet. Just kind of warning shots, a bit of bluffing. But the squad of Intz on the eastern side of the map, it's quite spread out actually. They're looking for a quick rotation or a safe rotation in towards the center. As the circle almost finished closing in, and still not any bloodshed so far. So we have a pacifist game. I was expecting a bit of a fast-paced game, aggressive game out of the South American region, but it turns out there's some pacifists at the moment.
I mean, we'll see if that continues to be the case, or if it was just simply a matter of how the drops worked out. There will be on different maps that we end up with more aggression, but the circle has shifted. It's heading west.
This again, this is a circle that the teams will be pretty happy with. Everyone seems to be inside it or has an easy rotation in. Intz is the only team that's kind of struggling to look for where they want to come in. Obviously, Real will come in from the south side, and there's no one occupying that at the moment either. Ace from the north side, they'll be fine to get in above Roshawk. Teams from Georgia Pole will also have an option of getting in without being edge guarded. So all the teams at the moment, they're looking pretty safe. So you see the team of Real on your screen now with 4 cars there, using some of the medicine they picked up from that military island and Novo. Playing very careful, maybe deciding what they want. Yep, divvying up some of the loot that they got.
So we're just about to hit 10 minutes. In fact, we've just passed 10 minutes so far this game. How long do you think we'll go? I say as shots are being fired. How long do you think we'll make it before the first knock comes in?
12.5, I reckon. I think something's going to kick off soon. Something's got to give. A lot of these teams are moving towards the center of the circle. The edges of the circle aren't occupied by teams at the moment, so they're going to start getting up on top of each other, getting in the grill. But 12 minutes without a knock is still a very long time, as we saw one yesterday with the first pistol that was picked up about a minute and a half in.
We saw a lot of early knocks yesterday, but these teams should be collapsing on each other at some point. 6-9 boys with their 4 vehicles have taken a compound for themselves.
They'll enjoy that.
Bit of cover.
We do hear shots raining out somewhere on the map. It's very exciting. So we have the side of the Brazilian Killers, I believe that is, taking shots. As one of cars ends up in a place it didn't really want it to be, but it's fine. Near the Pachinki Church, doing some scouting in that Dacia. Bright red, of course. Makes it go faster.
Classical music playing. Just get the mood going, set the vibe correctly.
And this church is quite a powerful position. You can scout over the top of Pachinki fields, over the top of these small houses to the southwest. So we see more teams just hiding in compounds. It seems like every compound within that center of the circle is occupied. Everyone's being very, very polite, just testing the waters. No one going Rambo mode just yet, diving into the backlines.
Intz are only now rotating in, and they might actually go straight for this crate.
There is a crate in their path. They could choose to take it if they require.
We're at 11:46. We just need to hold off for another 45 seconds for you to be right, mate. And I think we might just get away with it.
Oh.
These DRM guys aren't peeking out just yet, despite taking a bit of fire. KST on the outside, looking to make the engagement, but
one of the players getting very low. Getting quite low there, actually, one of the players from KST. They do have a player on the edge of the circle, essentially, near Gatka still. So he's taking his time getting into the mixture. I don't blame him. Being very careful, very strategic. And it looks like Potato Hill is going to be occupied by Intz, and they will take that crate that dropped up there. Hopefully for them, they got something good out of it.
Have to have a look and see what they did get, but...
they did spend a lot of time looting though, so I can't imagine they'd need much more.
Yeah, they were hanging out over on the eastern side of the map for quite some time. And ooh, that circle shifts south and slightly to the east. Pachinki still in play. That crate would have been a little bit spicy had Intz not already grabbed it, but that is indeed a big rotate for a lot of teams.
This is spicy because it looks like it's going to be a Pachinki circle, or maybe it could even finish in Pachinki fields. And those fields finishes are fantastic. There's so much action, there's barely any cover in them. Teams will have to use the smoke grenades very efficiently to give themselves any sort of cover. That's where you can see things start to explode out. The action just pours out when those Pachinki fields are in play. One of my favorite places to finish. See players snaking in the grass, very hard to see. See spam coming out onto the vehicle. There's still no knock coming through yet.
Yeah, 13 minutes, about to say. Also, worth noting, have a look at, who is that? Black Hammer, I think, from KST on a very long rotate going south. He's split up from the rest of his team. They're already well inside the circle. He's gone down to play a bit of a lurk, try and get some backstabs happening, potentially on a team who rotates late.
Yeah, it looks like his rest of his team are just south of Pachinki, as we see more spam coming out of these teams. Try and rotate into the circle. Ace taking the far east route to get in. They feel like Potato Hill might be the area. And often the way is the team that arrives at Potato Hill first usually dies on it. As we see spam coming out, he's running straight into another player from the side of...
Oh no, the cards roll. That should be it. There we go. 14 minutes in, we get the first knock.
First knock does come through, and it won't be confirmed, or will be confirmed with the car explosion, as you see them all piling into the UAZ to get in there and finish the kills and get the loot too.
There's another car blowing up. First blood, there you go, does go the way of Axel from TQ. TQ now, as you said, all their UAs are going to try and get them finish off some of these kills. Still with a couple of players around here.
Dropping very low on the side of TQ as well. They haven't timed this push just yet as one man goes down. That will be Doctor getting knocked and finished by TQ. There is an answering kill from inside of IH's. More players from inside cover take shots at this fight. This is a third party now entering the engagement. It's INS. Taking a peek.
I think it's actually same team. It's IN.
IN? Yeah, okay, it is.
Over there in the house, not with his team. In the meantime, Intz have grabbed themselves a couple of kills. Surely not.
On the flag? Yeah, well, there was an Australian flag there. Didn't think there was an Australian team in the South American qualifiers.
That would be odd.
That would be very strange. Maybe there's a bug there. But Intz on top of Potato Hill now guarding it with their life as one man goes down to the side of Ace. The side of Ace has joined the fight on top, and there's knocks going down all over the place on this hill. Intz are getting actually taken out pretty quickly. The team that does show up to that Potato Hill first usually does go down on it because there's so many angles to guard as Logic from Intz gets knocked out. Now Born is down. They're very low on the side of Intz. Another one goes down. Are they completely out now? They are.
Yeah, Intz
they're out in last place.
Not the start they would have been looking for there at all. There you go, eliminated Intz in 16th. TQ going to get the looting off on the players they dropped on the hills here.
So now it's Ace.
The circle is shifted so far east.
Yeah, it's a far east shift. Potato Hill still in play. The fields of Pachinki are on the cards as well. But now it means that all these teams that were rotating into Pachinki need to get out. And that's very difficult, especially if there are teams set up. And there is one. 6-9 are set up on the edge of Pachinki fields. They could gatekeep a lot of teams here. This could be a very lucrative spot for kills if they manage to hit their shots.
It's worth noting as well, we're 16 minutes in, still 55 alive. We've not lost many players at all. One team eliminated thus far. It's been a very slow start to this game, but
it's all about to kick off now though, Brainstorm.
Exactly with that. And the advantage of that is that all of these teams have so much time to prepare, so we should see a lot of very well prepared gunfights, and BRK going to start off, Brazilian Killers I should say, going to start off with the first knock. The play zone confirming one of those KST guys. They've just had 3 knocked, I believe. And that's...
The fight is happening on the south side of Pachinki, almost at the edge of the circle, so they're managing to clean out this team on their way through Pachinki.
Saw KST in the kill feed like 5 times. They're not down just yet though. Some revives across.
And they still had that. Remember, they still had that man out on the flank, and Treef, I believe it is, last man coming in. He's probably going to just play for points here. Can't really do much. He's encroaching on a squad of Real, as we see TQ approaching the north side.
Oh goodness me! Here's a fight inside a compound. HD and CRM, everyone inside the same building at this point are running around the outside of it. Top floor and bottom floor is the split. Nobody moving just yet, but
very crowded, and the noise complaints are coming in too.
Like cars in the bottom there.
Yeah, they've decided to park it in the garage. There's about 4 cars in there, I believe. They're all looking for that nade angle, or that just the push to get the first knock. And as soon as that first knock comes through, you know that they're going to pile in on top of that. I believe the team on the top floor will have the advantage in this engagement. As
it's worth noting these guys are just inside the circle as well, so
they will be able to play this for a while.
The circle is not going to be a factor. If they want to just sit and to hold top and bottom floor, they can do that for now, but if the circle shifts away from that compound, then things might get pretty ugly, because one of these 2 teams is going to have to leave. If bottom floor goes first, they can be shot from the windows. Top floor cannot leave until they've gotten rid of bottom floor, so it's going to be a bit of a Mexican standoff. Brazilian
Killers back on their grind, getting some kills there as TQ take out one as well. Some knocks coming through. We see more action in this house. Just this stalemate. Top floor, bottom floor. They've divided the real estate. That's a lot of flatmates to have in one house. I don't think I could live in there.
I wonder how the rent situation works. Do you reckon top floor play more because they have better views?
I think they would. Surely, but I mean, bottom floor gets access to the garage and the office.
And the living room that's become a garage.
Yeah, the living room. Yeah, well, garage number 2, perhaps.
Well, this is going to be a very awkward one here.
They do have the man camped out on the stairwell, popping his stims.
He's using his third-person camera to be able to see around this corner where
and he is looted. He has a level 3 vest, a level 3 helmet, and he's got a lot of meds to deal with. So he's going to be the raid boss to come in as Brazilian Killers get 1 knockdown for themselves for a long-range engagement. They'll be able to pick that player up, though. I don't believe he will go down anytime soon. It's BRK, I believe it was, getting knocked. as the circle does shift towards the north side.
So that's going to force an engagement here.
There is a lot of teams outside this circle. There is the western side of that hill, aptly named Potato Hill.
Oh, here we go, it's kicking off. They're pushing up the stairs. Benito going to get out of there immediately. Takes the first couple of kills, but both these teams know that it's on now for young and old. They've got to get out of this house one way or the other. They've got the vehicles in the base to do it as well. It looks like CRM going to go straight up the stairs, charging in, trades in both directions.
And it looks like HDT are going to be living in a body bag.
Goodness, maybe. Yeah, they had a player who dropped down below, but unable to find anything.
Oh, he's getting three. He's got 3 knocks.
No way. They dispatch all of it, and Bad Bunny comes through and cleans up. That should be
Bad Bunny. What a play. He gets out.
Down.
He gets on the flank from jumping out the window, and he saves his team, essentially. I don't think any of them got knocked either.
No.
All 3 of them are going to be able to be revived. Bad Bunny has saved the day there with 3 kills.
Yes, indeed.
Excellent
and that
work.
is hard drop out of it. Wasn't sure which way that one was going to go. It was very touch and go in the middle there. Trades going both ways, but it's CRM who do manage to hold on to things. We lose another team there. INSANOS eliminated as well, so starting to lose players very quickly as we move into the later stages of these circles.
The Brazilian Killers have 3 knocked out at the moment, 1 confirmed. There's only 1 player alive on that team now, Sean B. He's the last man up. 2 players knocked out, so our defending champions from this region having a struggle at the moment. 12 teams still alive. Usually at this stage of the game you'd say, okay, maybe you got into the top 10, but because it's been such a slow game, there hasn't been many teams getting knocked out. So we start to see action kicking off as real, and now in on the north side of the map, I believe, or the south side of the map.
Yeah, having a fight with CRM. Those guys are the ones who just won that house fight, and only just recovered from that, and they're already being shelled. I think they've had 3 players knocked here. Not sure anyone's been confirmed just yet, but I think it's still not looking too great for them to go straight out of one engagement into another.
The rest of that CRM squad is rotating straight into the loving arms of that 6-9 squad, who have been set up in great position. Only 1 player left from the Brazilian Killers, as I said. His other player has been knocked once more as TQ piling on the pain at the moment. Lots of teams now find themselves in the circle.
Ace maneuvering here for this crate if they can get towards it. Thanks to the hill, they do have a little bit of cover to maybe sneak towards it, but
XG
guys are right there, exactly that. They've got to worry about their flanks as well. They're engaging teams on multiple sides, but that grenade Molotov might just do it, but...
And that's Brazilian Killers out.
Forced them out. Yeah, there you go. Brazilian Killers are down in 12th position. Last split's champions coming out in 12th. But again, only game 1. We should be saying goodbye to Red here, the Red Cannons, by the looks of things.
Yeah, they're not longed for this world. They are getting watched like a hawk by that XG lineup. Spam comes through from the top of the hill. They're taking a lot of fights from a lot of different angles on the side of XG. So they need to watch out because they don't want to get flanked too hard by it. So we see Ace now taking a stand. They are playing around that crate. They do have a little bit of high ground to work with on these teams as they try and rotate in. Teams in good positions now are TQ. They have 4 players up. They are rotating late, but they are rotating into squads that are weak. XG also have good positioning. Ace in the circle already. As TQ Mystic decides to take a fall to the blue zone. There was no pressure on him there to do so, so maybe he was going for an ambitious rotate. Unfortunately, I don't think he'll be able to get resurrected either.
And with this crate having not been retrieved, the longer that this goes on, the harder this crate will be. As it's almost in the middle of the circle. It's going to be right in the way for all the teams who come rotating in as kills continue now. BTMT getting themselves some serious damage onto DRM. Ace still fighting from the center of this hill. This is the spot for them to be in. TQ now have found themselves a nice flank as well. Pretty much all of these teams now converging upon each other. We had 40 left not so long ago, 32 now. And as these circles shrink, it's pretty late in the game to have this many players up. We should be seeing a lot of eliminations ticking in very soon.
Yeah, you can see the angles now, these cars being rolled around, trying to be used as cover. Even might get blown up here. No, the player gets out of the car just in time for that. They're still looking to blow those cars up. They can be used as grenades, essentially. As the squads on this southern side are fighting, and they've got lots of line sides to open up. Another team from BT goes down. Kaiser from Ace falls very low. Goes down himself. TQ getting more kills on 6-9. So much action all across the map. You can see so many players alive. The only team with 4 alive is Real Esports at the moment.
6-9 could join them if they're able to pick up that res. They do have a player knocked at the minute, but well, same for
XG, yeah.
Same for XG, yeah. So a couple teams could have 4 maybe, but Ace is looking rough for them. 2 players knocked Just one still alive
Looks
on
like
top of this hill. This nade could be very good indeed. That might even confirm a couple of these Nox players.
Oh, he's just short, it looks like. Just short on these nades. If they're a bit longer, there could be some good
Pedro's just
stuff.
found 2 nade pickups there onto the Real players. 6-9 starting to lose some players as well.
This circle's getting very close very quickly. This TQ fight, this TQ 6-9 fight, or I believe it is getting very messy. The car's blown up, and the players behind the rocks too. As 6-9 get dropped by TQ. Myth goes down. Don't know if they're going to be able to pick him up. These TQ players are very isolated now. They're deciding to spread out. As another car gets blown up, limiting the movement potential.
Yeah, no one's got any cars left at this point. There was 4 or 5 that entered this side of the map. There is now 2 crates available, but the circle has shifted away from them, moving slightly south, and I cannot believe how many players we still have up here. 24, and the circle's getting this small.
Surely something's got to give. XG did manage to pick up their players, so now it's only XG and Real with the 4 players remaining. Real are on the southern side. They've got a lot of teams around them. XG on the northern side, so they're probably going to avoid each other for now. XG probably are in the best position at the moment, but they do have a lot of teams just poking and prodding at them. A lot of pressure. Spraydown comes in and gets the Nox 2 onto 6-9. Real getting punished as well. 6-9 getting absolutely fragged at the moment by TQ, and they're pushing in for the finish. They've counted how many they've knocked, and they're going to get some confirmed kills here too. TQ have a lot of kills, 10 already into the double digits.
Goodness me, and this early on as well.
There's still a lot of players remaining, still 17 alive for them. These 3 players from TQ can finish it off. If they can get a top 5 or top 4 finish, they're going to be for a lot of kill points.
Still both crates going up, but it's only moving in 10 seconds or so. There's not a lot of chance for them. Nox continuing to come through, and it's TQ again.
They've confirmed one of the XG members. So these squads with 4 remaining now falling as Exil from TQ claims the 5 kill bounty. Ace getting involved. TQ trading onto them. Kaiser finally dies from Ace. Red is still in there too.
1 player remaining, but he's able to get some work done. XG dropping players as well. Another kill for the Reds, the last remaining Red player. The Vilsky, I assume.
He's done excellent work on this northern side of the circle, just snaking in and picking up kills where he can. He's really got himself into a good position. The Batman still going strong too. They've got the 1 player alive.
Look how this has changed. All of a sudden we had 2 teams with 4 players. Now 2 is the most we've got.
Kaiser finally gets the bleed out.
Did we actually lose both our 4-player teams?
We did. Both EnxameGaming and XG have been knocked out.
Goodness me, that was quick. Oh, no, XG have got 1.
Okay, they do have 1 player remaining. Team Queso. It's probably the only team with 2 remaining, so there's a lot of 1v1s going on here. It's anyone's game at this stage, really, as TQ gets 1 player knocked out. It will be Team Queso now dropping. It is 6 teams alive, all with solo players.
With the exception of PDZ, who managed to get a pickup.
So
they've got 2, but they're it. Oh
Numbers advantage.
These guys are so close to each other.
They are the snaking in the grass, long grass. Oh, he might know something's up, but he's just shooting just above.
Oh my goodness, how are you not hitting those?
Axel, he's got 5 kills already. He's looking for that 6th.
Paris has just had his hair cut by those bullets everywhere on his body.
And there's still the level 3 helmet for Exil, so he's still got a lot of armor to work with. The level 2 vest, level 3 helmet. Decent on meds too. Exil's in a really good position. 6 kills.
Indeed, the grenade coming out. Won't find anyone. PTO players going to throw another one.
Exil gets dropped.
Yep.
Pedro
picks up Axel, so that's his team eliminated. Again, with so many teams, only 1 player, pretty much every kill is going to be a problem. Oh, speaking of problems.
That is a big one.
Goodness me, that is.
And this man has 8 kills now, I believe.
Gone. Yeah, he's got 6 kills for himself.
Yeah.
And he just knocked out the only 2-player team. This is now 4 1v1s. This could go either way, and they're all snaking exactly that. All prone, and Pedro might just be spotted out here. I don't think he's going to have the angle. Indeed, he has been spotted. He's going to stand up there for the kill, but he can't find it. Pedro.
The 1v1 god Pedro. He's going to bandage himself up.
As we've moved to the final 3, and all of them on this 1 hill, trying desperately to work out the angles.
It's just that
Paris actually looking the wrong way. Pedro can take the initiative here if he goes up to his left.
If he gets onto the high ground here, he will be able to see this player, but he will get spotted by the red player who's been the last alive in that squad for such a long time. He's done so well to secure himself a top 3 finish minimum.
Please move. Don't wait for the zone to force you out. Look, yeah, they're going to wait for the zone.
It's scary times as the red player does stand up a bit. Not spotted. He is in the last tree of cover. Once he starts moving, though, it's going to be pretty rough as Paris will probably see him.
Paris is looking towards Pedro right now, though, so maybe not. This might be a free takedown from behind. This could be the play that gets him the whole game at this point. He's made it so close, but unfortunately, he's going to get turned on. And now Paris on the run.
Paris versus Pedro. Pedro's got the sound cue from that gunfight, though, so he knows where Paris is, and Paris has no idea where Pedro is. Pedro stands up and takes the kill, and that will be 6-9. Taking the first game with a decent amount of kill points. So it's got themselves 6. But that was an interesting way to start the South American qualifiers, or the regionals, I should say, as a long, drawn-out game, 13 minutes before our first knock even came through.
And still moving into, like, I think it was phase 4 of the circle or something. We still had 30, 40 players up, so it was quite slow, but nonetheless, it is 6-9 who grabbed themselves the chicken dinner here. Pedro getting the 1v1 off at the end, and I'm pretty sure he had himself a pretty decent game there as well on the killing tally. So
he got himself 4 kills too for that game, so that's a good start for him.
Indeed. Be happy with that. And as we have a look at the highlights here, that is our first knock of the game. It's 13 minutes. This is the first gunfight that we had in the hills here. TQ in the worst of it. This was a ridiculous fight as well. This house fight, they waited for this for a good 2 minutes before finally going for it. And this was a big clutch from CRM there. One of their guys got like 3 kills or something before going down later in the game and actually managing to clear out that entire house for his team.
This was fantastic work from the side of CRM in that house fight. We saw it unfolding for such a long period of time. It was interesting to watch. They eventually got forced out by the zone, and CRM with the flank, the Bunny player, he managed to come down, get 3 kills, all with the level 1 vest too. Balls of steel from Bunny.
Absolutely, but you got it done, and that's what you need. So things a bit different from what we saw in our in our games over in the wildcard region, as we had no action essentially for 13 minutes. That did mean that all of our teams were very well looted. They all had cars. We saw multiple teams with 4 vehicles on their rotations, so there was a lot of time to be prepared, and that circle, fortunately, wasn't too hostile to any one team. It was a pretty safe rotate for most of them.
It was a pretty friendly circle for everyone. Everyone got to where they wanted to loot. Everyone got to pick up what they wanted. I don't think Brazilian Killers will be happy, though, with their performance. They had 4 up. They had a good squad wipe in Pachinki, and then all of a sudden, on the rotate, they got picked off, and they weren't able to recover at all with their 2-man squad. But the story of the day is all those 1v1s at the end. There's so many teams there with just 1 player alive. I think it was 6 teams alive, and there was 7 players at one stage.
Yeah, something like that.
That's crazy. You almost never see that in PUBG. So that was a good way to start it off, as we see the leaderboard coming through. The 6 kills and the 20 placement points leaves 26 points for the side of 6-9 Esports. The boys at Batmen, because of their high kill count, 11, taking 2nd place in that game.
XG right behind them, also on 19 points. So things nowhere near as clear-cut as we saw in the wildcard region. Everything a lot closer. A lot of teams in those double digits, and between 2nd and 7th, there's only 9 points in it. So it's a pretty close scoreboard this time around after game 1.
You can see the crazy thing there is the fact that these kill points influence it so much. Two teams on 11 kills, but they got single-digit placement points. They weren't even inside the top 3, but they managed to fall inside the top 4 for the points total for the game, as you see Intz dropping out pretty low there, as well as Brazilian Killers. Those are 2 big names you wouldn't expect to see down that low. Cream Esports as well, being down low on the table. It's only the first game of the day though. 3 more remaining, 1 more Erangel at the end of the day, so teams will look to rebound with these future maps.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's pretty unfortunate for Hard Drop there. We do see them right down the bottom. Those boys were the other side of that house fight we were looking at in the highlights there. I think they were the top floor team who did go down, and unfortunately they weren't able to confirm a single kill. They got 3 knocks, I think it was. It was for Bunny, it was a 1v3 or something, 1v4 that he actually was able to convert with that flank, but they didn't get a single kill out of that. They weren't able to confirm anything for the side of Hard Drop. So they'll be feeling a little bit hard done by. I think that they weren't able to at least get 1 kill out of that, because knocks at the end of the day, of course, don't matter. So that's a bit unfortunate for them. But either way, we do have 3 more games coming up right after this. So stay tuned. Right after this short break, we'll be right back with some more South American PUBG Mobile.
PUBG Mobile Team Deathmatch. Anytime, anywhere. There is a better choice. PUBG Mobile Team Deathmatch. A quick game for those short breaks. There is a better choice. PUBG Mobile Team Deathmatch. Endless respawn, endless fun. There is a better choice.
back to PMCO 2019. My name is Brainstorm. I am joined here by Smash. We are having a look at the South American region here at PMCO 2019. We were already down one game, and it was a bit of a crazy one. No knocks for 13 minutes, and then the final sort of battle was like 6 individuals or something. Yeah,
it was a slow game, but if you're looking for a game that is a bit fast, you can download the PUBG on your mobile on the Google Play Store or the App Store, as well as the Apple Store, I believe it's on.
App Store, Google Play.
App Store and Google Play, yeah, both of those. You can find PUBG Mobile on that, but that was a very slow game to start things off. It was complete opposite what we saw with Wildcard. Wildcard, we saw a lot of fights early, a lot of hot drops. Here we see a very center circle, a very safe circle, very friendly circle to start things off. But that was an interesting finish with all those 1v1s.
It was indeed. And by the way, to keep up with all of the action here, because there's PUBG Mobile running pretty much 24/7 for PMCO 2019 here for at least the next... I think the schedule lightens up after a week or two, but the next couple of weeks are very intense. So if you want to stay tuned to all the action, make sure you subscribe to the PUBG Mobile Esports channel on YouTube. If you're watching the stream already, then on YouTube, then congratulations, hit the bell, away you go. But either way, you can get it with all of the action. And for now, speaking of action, we need to move into our second game. We've already had one on Erangel. We now move into Sanhok for game number 2.
Sanhok is one of those maps where you expect the fast-paced action because it's such a small map. Hopefully we don't get another one of those center circles, because I want to see some blood, some carnage early on. I don't know that any of these teams are too keen on it. Most of these teams really want to just feel it out, it seems. They're playing very safe, rotating in very slowly, even taking time to divide the meds up, divide the loot up. So I think that this region as a whole is playing a little bit safer. Maybe Group C, Group C and D might have a different opinion, but A and B at the moment playing pretty slow. Calculated.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see if that continues, because that was, if you were ever going to have a time to play slowly and safely, that last map was pretty good for it. The plane line was pretty friendly. You could get to the majority of the looting locations of the map without too much effort. The circle was very friendly in the center. No one really had too difficult of a rotate, as we can tell by the fact that there was no knocks or not even a gunfight for 13 minutes, really. So maybe it will be, if we have a bit of a different plane line that locks off a few more looting locations, or if the circle is a long way from everyone, then maybe we will see some more early game aggression. But that last map didn't really get too much.
No, everyone seemed to have a gentleman's agreement to get into a car and go find what you wanted to loot and then come back in 10 minutes. And it worked out that way,
Pistols
didn't
at dawn. Just see you later, boys.
Yeah, it was. And unfortunately for the first, we got a 4v4 team fight, and that was the way the first team got eliminated. In that house, that play from Bunny managing to get 3 kills on that squad and saving the rest of his squad too. I can't believe none of them got knocked out, and none of them got finished, I should say.
Yeah, that was... I think it was Hard Drop.
Hard Drop, yeah.
They weren't able to get a single kill out of that somehow. You'd think that when you're fighting for if you weren't watching us on the stream, they're inside a house. Hard Drop on the top floor. TQ? Oh, no, CRM. CRM are on the bottom floor. They charge up the stairs at each other. 5 players get knocked immediately, but somehow none of the players from CRM got confirmed. They only got knocked, and all of Hard Drop got knocked out.
Yeah, that was so unfortunate for Hard Drop. They would have been feeling pretty confident going into that little compound fight too, because they pushed up the stairs together. They managed to get the first entry frag, the second entry frag, and then all of a sudden things got turned on their head by Bunny, who came downstairs and swooped on from behind. One of the teams there to mention, Brazilian Killers, they didn't have a fantastic game in game 1.
I think it was 14.
But they did manage to dominate Pachinki, but as the circle shifted away from Pachinki into Pachinki Fields and Potato Hill, they just couldn't catch up to it, and eventually they ran into 6ix9ine, who took down 2 of their players, and 6ix9ine went on to win the game. Pedro clutching it out in the final circle.
It did indeed, and that was the second time we've seen a situation that should go in favor of one team, right? We had one team with 2 players and a whole bunch of solos. That should go in favor of the 2-man every time, but for the second time so far this tournament, we saw it once in the wildcard region yesterday and now once today. One of the solos manages to sneak up on both of the 2 remaining players, or the 2 teamed players, I should say. And it wasn't even a crossfire. It wasn't they got stuck with all the solos pushing him. It was just one guy who managed to mow them both down and put it into 1v1s.
Yeah, it was a great spray down to get that 2 kills, and that kind of set us up for that 1v1v1 finish. And unfortunately, the player from Red had to flinch first. He stood up and got found out as he pushed towards the car. Pedro, he knew something was up. Eye on the prize. He got the kill, got the chicken dinner too. And that put his team ahead by quite a fair bit. I think it was important because that team didn't get the most amount of kills. As we move into Sanhok, we see the beautiful picturesque surroundings. See the docks there. Always love a good dock drop. Into the temple area too. That's a very fun place to end the game. There's lots of hiding spots in there. It always goes down to the heal-offs in that area.
Well, here comes the plane. Much smaller map here. Half the size of Erangel is Sanhok. 4x4 as opposed to 8x8. I think that's how area works. And
this looks like a very straight plane.
This is a
straight
very
up the
straight
guts.
plane. Exactly that. Straight up the middle. That's going to leave pretty much every location accessible. Maybe things like Camp Alpha, Camp Bravo, a little bit out of the way. But again, given how small this map is, pretty much every looting location is going to be available with this plane.
Certainly will be, but I do expect more action to break out. Because the map is smaller, there are less places to loot, and teams will be dropping in these high-density loot areas, such as Boot Camp, such as Paradise Resort as well, another popular loot area, as we see INN taking charge of the first camp. They are not alone at the moment. Red are in the vicinity, and they will know that.
And it looks like both of these players we can see so far have found some weaponry as well, so it is indeed going to be a very early gunfight. Nobody going to be stuck with just a melee weapon or anything like that. It looks like we've got rifles across the board, and I don't think we'll be waiting 13 minutes for a frag this time around.
No, I don't think we will at all, as both squads have 4 players alive, have loot, and they know they're in the neighborhood too. They've seen each other through the windows. They've seen the heads poke around, and we have assault rifles all across the board. No vest at the moment for little Lev, but he has an SMG and an assault rifle, so he'll back himself in a gunfight at the moment. He's going to be just playing the stairs, playing very cautious as the side of INN trying to rotate around the exterior of the compound. Maybe trying to disengage from this, but they are on the other side of the circle. They need to push in eventually. They come crawling in to gather some information. Red, they are split out a little more, playing on high grounds, playing on roofs. So they're just going to be using the high ground, using those walls to gather information, using those sound cues. Just pick up a helmet, pick up a vest. He's got a Tommy gun on the back, actually.
Health kit there as well. That'll help out later on. First aid kit, I should say. Somehow this engagement has not yet broken out between Red and the IN guys, but feels like a matter of time. They are both outside the circle, and while this first circle does move quite slowly, there's still going to be only so long they can really wait around before they start having to make a move.
Yeah, the northern side of that circle is pretty free at the moment. The top bridge, nobody occupying that, so that's a good way to rotate in for these teams. So there are safe options to rotate in. It's still a lot of play area in. It's only about a sixth or an eighth of water. So there's a lot of play zone to occupy if you are a team. At the moment, Brazilian Killers, BRK, are in the middle. And TQ also has a good position in Painam, a town that's very popular to loot because of the divide, the water divide. You can take one side of that and usually not get pushed very easily. Lots of teams around the boot camp area finishing up their looting as Real is rotating past BTM.
If this circle shifts northwest, by the way, XG are the only teams on the northwestern island, and if they choose to, they could well go for something like a 2-2 split and try and control these bridges, even if they only lock down one bridge with all 4 players. If the circle shifts onto them heading northwest, that's going to be pretty tough.
Certainly would be a very favourable position for them, as we see CRM now rotating in on the east side. Might be getting spotted out by the opposing team, DRM. Intz on the docks. They did the dock drop, so they've got a long rotate to go. Probably the longest rotate at the moment.
Meanwhile, Red and IN have finally given up on their duel. They've not found anyone, and Red are just going to choose to turn tail and run. And there's a team around here, but they've been able to get some looting happening. They've got what they need to start off with for now.
There's
They're
still
not
no
fully
vest.
looted out. Yeah,
Yes, all meds on Lev. They've decided to give it up pretty early, and that's maybe a little lack of confidence. They did have a very strong game 1. They had one player to stay alive into the top 3. Didn't finish with the most kill points, so I think they believe they got 4th place because of that. But
3 in placement.
3 in placement, yeah, 4 overall. Just because they didn't manage to get the kill points. But they managed to do quite well for themselves getting into that top 3 as Painam has been exited by TQ as they look towards that maybe top side rotation. They're playing very central. As no team yet has decided to take shots, apart from that engagement in the south that eventuated in nothing.
Looks like Ace might be looking to move over to the northwestern island as well.
I think they'll be very happy once they find out that bridge is completely clear. That's a very, very easy way in.
All of XG hanging out on the southern side of the island at the moment. Hanging out on the coastal road there, looking over the channel. And Ace, they haven't moved just yet, but again, no real pressure to at the minute. The zone is moving very slowly, only just starting to encroach on the very edges of the map, let alone the island. So still a fair amount of time for them to work with, and you can already see that most teams aren't going to be stressed by this rotation. It's a small map, so the rotates aren't as big to begin with, and we've got what looks to be about 6 teams outside of the zone, and the ones that are outside are not far away.
Funnily enough, we only see 1 squad in a vehicle at the moment. Or 2, sorry. So HD are in and Intz are in, have a vehicle. All the other squads, they're not choosing to rotate via vehicles, which is popular on Sanhok because it's so small, you can hear the vehicles coming so easily. And once you get sprayed down in a vehicle, it's really, really rough stuff as XG are taking an engagement on the water's edge. Looks like Real are in the vicinity. As XG are now hopping into cars of their own to try and get away from this engagement.
XG are pretty safe to do that at the minute because they are still the only team on this northwestern island, and it looks like they have chosen to patrol the western bridge potentially. Oh no, they're actually going to go out of here. They're not confident in that circle shifting their way. They're going to go join everyone else getting central.
Well, they've joined themselves into a gunfight, and Real has managed to get 2 players on that buggy sprayed down immediately, and these are confirmed, you would think, as all the Real players are in the area. A disastrous start from the side of XG as 2 players go down. I believe this player will get confirmed who is at the buggy, just cowering in fear as one player starts to push around on the flank of Real players. They're getting a bit feisty at the moment.
They're still able to hit their shots. There's some nicks. Oh my god, some
There's
knocks.
only one man alive now.
XG.
Oh, he's so low. He's out already.
They had such a good position on the northwestern island. They choose to give it up, and they immediately get gunned down for it.
They second-guessed themselves. They had the island to themselves. Maybe they should have waited for the next shift. Who knows? Real in position. They rotated a long way to get to that compound too. They rotated all the way from the northern side of boot camp on foot. So XG would not have known that they were there coming in. So we see more rotations now coming through as KST have heard this gunfire and they've decided they might check it out, see what's in the area. But again, a lot of these players with very low loot, no helmet on this player from KST, so players not finding exactly what they need and what they want.
The looting situation hasn't been too kind to anyone just yet. There is a crate available in the eastern side of the circle, but with a lot of teams congregating around it, it's by no means free to grab. See if anyone is willing to risk that though for the level 3 armor, which we talk only about crates coming in late game and you get level 3 as just a refresher armor late game, but at this point I think most of these teams would just take any level 3 because we haven't seen too many teams with level 3 armor.
No, I think they're only this, maybe...
I think a Real do now
maybe
with
it's
the
Brazilian
looting that they've got.
Yeah, maybe Brazilian Killers might have some level 3 armor just because they've been alone for the whole time essentially, but Real now poking out for another engagement. They've been spotted by KST, so a lot of action early on for the guys on the squad of Real. TQ are in the area as well. They might hear these shots and have a mosey on over. Ace choose to stay on the northern side of this circle too. They haven't crossed over onto the island, the eastern or western island I should say. They're just kind of poking around compounds, sussing everything out. They might think it's too good to be true, that bridge being clear. As Red find themselves, after moving away from that early fight with IN, they found themselves closer towards north of Sami. And they find themselves with a lot of room to work with, actually. There's not many squads around them.
And of course, now that we've lost that team XG who are on the northern island, that means that northwestern island is completely free now. Of course, there's not going to be too much loot over there, as XG had a lot of time to clear out all the good stuff, but it looks like Ace are going to be getting a move on over there. It looks like they've got players moving across the bridge, potentially, or on the coastline underneath it. Can't quite tell from the overhead. KST and Real occupying opposite huts in this village here on the other side of the bridge. Yet to find each other. There is a decent amount of cover in between the two teams, but stuck in this compound for now.
If this circle shifts northwest, we're going to see a lot of action break out within the next 5 minutes because there is nobody home at Camp Alpha or that whole island. Hatin, Camp Alpha, both the bridges just completely unmanned at the moment. Ace still so hesitant to push across it.
Yeah, I mean, they do have control, technically, of that eastern bridge. Of course, we know what they don't, and there's no one on the island. So they've got the, I suppose it's the northern bridge, isn't it? They have the northern bridge. But there's going to be maybe one team who rotates that way. Maybe.
Yeah, it would be a very ambitious rotate if anyone else were to try it, just because they are all so far away.
PDZ could potentially rotate that way, and it's probably the easiest bridge for them to get to. But everyone else is equidistant between the other bridges. So Ace, they might control that bridge, but they're going to need to get on the island pretty quick if that circle shifts northwest. And of course, if it doesn't shift northwest, then all of this conjecture is for nothing. Yeah,
all of this conjecture would be for nothing, and Ace will probably be in a very sticky situation as they'll have to choose to rotate through boot camp or Maybe Camp Alpha Bridge if they do choose to go across, as the circle does pop in. Right about now, we get a central circle. Ruins, Pinam look to be the big things in focus. Boot Camp's still in there, but it's pretty unlikely that we end up there. We'd have to hard shift north. I'd love to see a Pinam finish in the river of Pinam. That'd be beautiful, but also Ruins could be good fun. Ruins, that big temple in the middle. There's a lot of angles there to work with. A lot of players can just hide around corners. Some nade spots as well.
Well, this should be potentially a more eastern or southern shift, as Circle's going to be trying to get rid of as much water as it can now, and there is still the rivers in play, so potentially we could wind up centered on Painan. Could even just go out towards the coast there as well, going west, but we'll see as some more shooting does break out here. 6-9 spraying away at a couple of players at long range, but now they control the hilltop, and it doesn't look like they're under too much pressure either.
Preston, the concerning thing for me is that I'm looking at this circle and the teams in it, and nearly everyone's in it. There's 3 teams outside the circle, and all 3 of those teams have a fairly easy rotation in. So we might have another quiet few minutes here as teams are already set pretty at the moment.
Ace have got a pretty good spot here, actually. They've chosen to cross the river rather than going across the bridge, and they're going to be able to come in over one of these bridges from that northwestern island.
CRM
is, there's still a few players who are around those bridges. The western bridge is clear. That central bridge, though, Real is right there. They're busy occupied fighting KST, of course, but Ace, depending on how they're timing here, they're either going to come in behind everyone, because there's been no action on the northwestern island for so long that most teams should be thinking it's clear, or they might just walk in and be the third team in this fight between Real and KST. And if that's the case, the Real guys, or Real, I'm assuming Real, could well be stuck between 2 opposing forces.
CRM rotating in from the quarry at the moment. They are in a tricky situation. There could be a fight breakout there as INF and HD are there waiting for them with open arms. If they get spotted, they could be in a world of hurt, as the gunshots will rain out quickly towards them, as PD are rotating in 2 from the north of that. So there could be these 4 squads going head-to-head against each other very quickly, as it looks like Ace are happy with edging the circle at the moment, just chasing the circle in, finding out what's going to happen next. Playing it pretty safe, all the teams so far. Only the one team to go down, and that was XG, as we see it already break out on the side of the quarry. 1 player knocked down from CRM. He's been taken out for good.
That's Bad Bunny as well, who had a pretty decent game for them last time.
He was the clutch king.
An unfortunate player for them to lose. IN and 6-9 are on top of each other in the south down here, but for now the geography will keep them apart. The hills and ridge lines separating them for now, but that could indeed break out into a fight at any point. And Cream, they've been spotted from behind. The boys are getting some spray in. Not able to find that kill, but going out into the open, that's very risky indeed. 1 HP and surely gets knocked here.
Oh, these bullets are just grazing him.
How does he not go down in the smoke there?
He must be the luckiest man alive at the moment. Buy a lotto ticket, son. He gets the health kit off, the med kit, or the first aid, I should say, and that will mean he will be up to a decent amount of HP, as you can see him doing some dipping and ducking in the smoke.
Dances.
Yep. Celebrations.
Lucky to be alive, and he's actually going to get out of there again. That's 2 very exposed runs that he's taken, and somehow survived both, only at the cost of some first aid kits, or a first aid kit.
Smoke grenade very well placed there by, I assume, whatever his teammate was throwing it out. But they're still in a really sticky situation on the side of Cream. They're going to have to win a fight at a massive disadvantage to get any further in this game, as there are 2 squads now that know that they are there. And they've already seen 1 player get knocked out, so they know they're weak. So I don't expect much from the side of Cream here. They found themselves in a terrible situation. Unless HD and INF start fighting between themselves, Cream are stuck in the mud right
Here
now.
comes Ace as well, coming in over that bridge, and does look like they're going to go through the water rather than taking the bridge. They will be coming in behind Real and KST, who are still all holed up in that compound, so Ace might just be able to put the hurt on here. The concern for me is if they go in, they clean up Real, then maybe KST, who haven't had to take the engagement, if that happens, could swoop in and clean them up. But we'll see how it plays out, as those teams are now starting to move. KST and Real now getting a fight on, I should say, and Ace coming in behind them as well as the circle shifts towards the east. Red Cannons finding a knock onto a 6-9 player as well, and the engagement's now kicking off pretty quickly. The circle is starting to shrink, and all teams, pretty much on all sides of the circle, are going to be running into each other. We don't really have any separated rotations here. It's all clusters.
Well, no, we have Painam being the center of the circle, essentially, and only 1 team going towards that TQ. There is the whole field east of Pine Arm, the whole hills area there is completely open. So we have all of these teams occupying about 30% of the circle, I'd say. There's so much room for activity in this circle.
So much room for activities. That's what you like to see.
As Red and 6ix9ine are engaging on each other pretty hard on the southwestern side of this circle.
IN are right there as well. Not
Those
too
are
far
two
away.
teams that finished top 3 last game. You see Cream getting peppered once more by INF.
Near thing. A lot of damage done, but no kill confirmed as the zone begins to shuffle in just a few seconds. It'll move forward to this circle, but all teams are pretty much in it now. Cream are just outside. Brazilian Killers also just outside.
Yeah, Ace could get flanked by Brazilian Killers here. No one's known that Brazilian Killers is on this western side. They've done nothing all game except for loot. So
They
Ace
could grab this crate and their way through as well.
They could if they choose to, but that northwestern side and the southwestern side could break out into gunfights very soon. As we see everything go quiet for a moment, but it's the quiet before the storm, the calm before the storm, as we see Nox start coming out. Red and 6ix9ine picking up on that engagement, previous engagement that they did have.
All the teams now getting inside this circle. Brazilian Killers, will they spot out Ace or will they
They're
be
so
found
close to each
themselves?
other.
They're right on top of each other. Let's check that out in a sec. But Cream in the meantime doing some last second looting while they're in this warehouse. And
I'm impressed that they've
fresh on
managed
it.
to survive for this long, to be honest. I thought they were going to get pushed as soon as that first knock came out. I thought that one of the two teams next to them would take advantage of that and try and, you know, get some free kills, but it turns out not to be the case, as Ace have been flanked by the Brazilian Killer squad, and their fight is breaking out hot and heavy on the northern western side of the map. So we see one player already get taken out from the side of Ace.
no hits are coming through just yet either. Hard Drop now finding one of these Cream players as well, sitting up in the hills above where they are. They've been waiting for quite some time.
They're going to be down to 2 on the side of Cream already.
Look at all these teams converging each other on the south side of the map. Red, 6ix9ine, IN, DRM, all on top of each other at this point. Surely a gunfight breaking out there, but in the meantime, Hard Drop controlling the hill, looking down towards Cream. They have been able to rotate out and to the left, so maybe they'll be able to escape here, but that zone is encroaching on them fast. And we're about to have another circle shift here. Depending on where this goes, this could uproot half the lobby. If the circle shifts north or east...
I'm thinking it's going to go north of Pine Arm. It does.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, it will, and
That's a rough
KST are in a prime position as teams will have to try and cross the river right in front of them. BTMT also in a nice spot. PDZ are actually going to get into the circle for free, essentially. It is going to be the southern side of the circle and Pine Arm where the action will kick off. If TQ decide to stay, maybe they can clean up some kills, but if they're going to go, they're going to have to go pretty early because there's going to be a lot of players chasing them. That western side and the southern side. It's so hot for action coming into the next few minutes.
And we've got a bunch of teams converging on the lower half of the river as well. We've had a team just climb into the river. I believe it's Intz who are on the other side, awaiting them. DRM there as well, so potential for a bit of a swimming fight happening here. And by that, of course, I just mean slaughter, because you're not going to do much fighting when you're swimming along. And there you go. There's the players in the water just starting to get farmed, and that's always going to happen there with a player on each bank. That was pretty much always the way that's going to go, but now... Yep, I think that's all of the DRM players knocked down inside the river there. That grenade should finish it off as well for Intz.
And Ace getting picked up as well. Kaiser going down, getting knocked. He might be able to get revived here. That team is taking a bit of a beating. Brazilian Killers have chosen to go across the river into KST at the moment, so that fight's going to be another big one that breaks out. There's a lot of squads in that area. It's all going to start happening now as we see Ace Kaiser finished off, or maybe finished off, I believe, now. It's only 2 players remaining for Ace's. TQ pick up a big sniper rifle kill onto Red. That was quite a distance away too.
Indeed, and now the teams, these two teams, having slaughtered everyone in the river, come to fight each other.
Cream are down and out now, finally going down in 14th position. I don't believe they got any kills either. Unfortunate for the squad of Cream. As 6ix9ine.
Player there, as 6ix9ine come in, exactly that. Intz have chosen to
Pedro's
give
hanging
up
out
on this hill
in
for
the
now,
blue.
or the river even.
Pedro's hanging out in the blue.
So
He's alright. He's hopped in a vehicle, he should be okay. No, maybe?
Yeah, no, he's good.
No, he's good.
That was Marky getting confirmed by the zone. We've run out of players by now. I am going to drop one as well. Or trying to drop one. There's a confirm on Myth. There we go.
Yep, he's done for. 6ix9ine dropping players again. Intz now picking up a few kills of themselves. TQ getting that point onto the HD player. As this circle it's caused a lot of pain.
As indeed, it's now going to force Red out of their compound, but look at Hindra coming in behind them. They've got two players from in.
It's that Western fight. This is on the southern side near Pine Arm. Red.
Look at Pedro with his vehicle. He's gone all the way out east. He's now coming in behind Intz. Of course, being in a vehicle, he is making a decent amount of noise, but he actually had a teammate with him. They've rotated around through the zone in that car. And now they might be able to sneak up and try and do some damage here. Red, in the meantime, a big fight with INSANOS then for the Red Cannons. And they are coming out the better of it by the looks of things here.
Another knock. There's probably only one more player left on the side of IN. The res might be able to come out here. The zone is starting to chunk a lot.
There you go. Play zone to clean up those last couple of players. And I believe that'll be IN out. There they go. INSANOS in 13th out of here. Play zone getting a lot of kills now. Red players starting to fall as well. Unable to get the heals off. They couldn't get knocked in the zone. Finished it up. Meanwhile, the circle has shifted more central into the fields above Painan. There is a couple of buildings in this circle. And who is that? BTMT, who currently have one.
BTMT have been playing passive all game. They've kind of found themselves in the center of the circle. Every time it's shifted, they've been the first one there. They found themselves in a great position. They are going to be surrounded, though. Brazilian Killers know where they are. KST know where they are.
That said, they do still have the compound. The Batman inside the houses. Everyone else is just fighting using the hills for cover at this point. The kills continue to come in here. Boss taking some cover behind a fern, spraying away the Intz players. And goodness me, a lot of action kicking off now. And Boss somehow still alive as 6-9 are getting a lot of damage done.
They're coming in from on the flank for that fight, the Intz PDZ fight. There could be some real kills coming out here as Ace are only down to one player now. They still have one in the blue zone, but I don't think he'll be long for this world. A lot of teams starting to go down. TQ have cleaned up a lot of kills this game. 6-9 are still going pretty strong. Pedro, well, he's alive. He's going to be a pest.
We just lost two teams there as well. Not sure exactly who went down, but we're down to 10 now instead of 12. So two more teams fall in the circle, about to move once again, and it continues to shift. Now, no buildings in play.
Oh,
Batman
it continues to kill players too. That's 5 players in a row.
Zone. Goodness me, yeah, that's a lot of damage done by the play zone. Everyone hanging out and healing now. I think we just lost Red there as well, to the zone mostly. And everyone going to have to shift into these tiny little sections of hills. We're going to see a lot of snakes in the grass, I think, at this point. Ace about to lose a player to the play zone as well. So too, the real, goodness me, the play zone, the kill leader so far this game for sure.
The Batman are starting to pop off, though. Teams are starting to run into the loving arms of Batman. And that's a hug you don't want at the moment.
More kills for the play zone as Ace continue to drop players. KST getting some revives off, and Batman are actually playing this one slow. Sure, their huts are now out of the circle, but they're just choosing to hang around, wait for the zone to come to them, as they know that when they have the cover, they have this position. They can afford to rotate late if it means that everyone else rotates past where they're in cover. Yeah,
Killer's team and Batman are still with 4 alive each, which is very important going into these later stages of games, because the kills will come as we see Brazilian Killers starting to push up straight out quickly here. He gets found, gets turned on, turns on a dime and gets him taken out. Brazilian Killers, they're showing their sharp today.
That's a lot of kills. KST starts traded back. Reef goes for a push. Pretty ambitious. A lot of players here, but now other teams, I think, are helping them out. Everyone converging. There's going to be a couple confirms and the team wipe as well. Brazilian Killers gone. Knocked out by KST there, by Reef, really, as the zone continues to push in. There is the Batman. You can see them there on your screens. Getting forced now out of their huts. 13 alive, 5 teams remaining. Batman, the only team of 4, and the circle continues to be in the middle of nowhere. It's all in the fields now.
Certainly is in the middle of nowhere. Pedro from 6-9 still hanging out on the eastern side. There are some TQ players alive on the south.
Look at those player numbers though. Batman 4 alive. Everyone else 2 and 1 knocked. Now just 1 for Killers.
It is the Batman's game to lose at this point, you'd say.
TQ just got knocked by the zone.
Seems like Killers team had 4 up just a moment ago, but taking that fight versus Brazilian Killers really injured them a lot. 6-9 still with 2. PDZ still with 2, but you see all the top 3 teams still in here. 6-9, Batman, PDZ. Killers team had a very poor game 1, but they've managed to bounce back pretty pretty well into this game too.
The Batmen have got themselves spread out here on the southwestern side of the circle. They're about to be forced out by the zone, but they've got the utility to play with. Going to get some nades out, and they can pretty much afford to just play this one passively. If they're in this situation where they've got 4 up and the rest of the lobby is starting to eliminate each other, sure, you need some more kills because you're only on 4 for the game so far, but you're also getting handed a chicken dinner, essentially, if everyone else continues to fight and knock out each other. When you still have 4 people up, this fight is getting easier for you with every moment you delay taking a contact.
Certainly a 6-9 drop down to 1 player remaining. It is Pedro, the clutch master from last game. He's in a lot tougher position as nades start rolling out onto him as one player gets found from the side of the Batman.
And confirmed as well.
So that decks him down to 3. They do have a player low as well. If he gets spotted, this could end up going very south quickly for the Batman.
Black Hammer could actually clean up multiple players on Batman here, and looks like PDZ will save them from that one, and that's actually very lucky for the Batman. They do get saved, the flank is removed by someone else, and now they're able to clean up. 2 teams alive, 4 players up. It's Pedro against 3. This is going to be very difficult indeed as that zone continues to move. 3 against 1. Pedro, he clutched the last game. He's hiding in a burn with multiple in front of him. This has to be a big spread out. He's almost got the second. He's maybe got this one done. He just needs to find that last player. He has spotted him out as well. Pedro going for the 1 versus 3. This could be the clutch. The nade is there, but the player's right in front of him standing up. He'll go down prone, but it's a 1v1. Pedro could be getting a second chicken dinner for his team. 2 kills so far this game. He'll only be getting 3 if he can make this work. Don't go down to the zone, son. He's going to sneak along inside of it, but these reses are not possible. It is just the 1v1.
He gets it!
Pedro's done it! 1 versus 3. 2 chicken dinners back to back. Both from Pedro.
Pedro, good!
Goodness me.
What a
5
gamer.
kills for himself. 6-9, 2 chicken dinners, and Pedro, a 1v1 last game, a 1v3 this game. Clutch god so far today.
He's been absolutely stunning. Wow, you can't count him out. I thought it was all over with 4 players up on the side of the Batman. They go home with a second place in a row. Wow.
How's that for consistency? Top 2 the same.
Yeah, 6-9 are off to a racing start at the moment. They've got 2 chicken dinners in a row, all off the back of Pedro's 1v1 play or his clutch play. That's an incredible way to start today.
1v1 and 1v3, that's pretty insane.
What a clean 1v3 it was too.
Yeah, I thought Batman had that for sure. They had so many players left up. When they did, I was a bit worried when they lost their first player, as they were starting to get pinched, but then the other players cleared out the flanks for them. They just got helped by the rest of the lobby, but still, even with 3 players up, it was not enough to stop Pedro, who gets a 1v3. 2 of them with a 2-man spray down, essentially. They were locking him down. The last 1v1 very well played, as it was last map, but he gets 2 players, both looking at him, both shooting at him, and is able to get the final 1v1 as well.
Yeah, that was insane skill by Pedro, really showing out this top-level talent. And wow, if this is what South America has for us, yeah, the games take a little bit longer to kick off, but wow, they get into it really, really hard towards the end.
If Pedro
insane
does this
clutches.
again, I swear.
Oh, if Pedro does it again, I'll
So dumb.
I don't know what I'll do. I'll lose my mind.
Just leave.
Just leave?
Just let the game speak for itself. We'll
Yeah,
be
well,
done.
just let Pedro on the broadcast. He can do it all,
literally, just
apparently.
bring him in and just be like, hey, you've already clutched all the games. You want to clutch the broadcast too? Here's my headset. Go. Have fun.
Probably would
But
too.
look, very impressive stuff. And already the first time we've seen a double chicken dinner, and in the first 2 games, no less. Yesterday in Wildcard, we had 4 different winners. We did have one team who was top 3 every single game, but we had 4 different winners, and already we've seen 2 chicken dinners back-to-back. They haven't been 2 high kill games from 6-9, but they're getting 20 points per chicken dinner, and Pedro's been putting up 5-6 kills on average per game.
That is,
and they're all clutch frags as well.
They're so important frags too. They're not free spamming at a card. You know, they're all fighting frags. They're all 1v1s or getting shot at back. And as you see the points coming in, 27. It's a small chicken dinner. Oh, he did get 5. So that's
so 5 of 7 kills go to Pedro, and a 1v3 as well for the chicken dinner.
It's not a big chicken dinner, but it's a chicken dinner nonetheless. You see the kills spread out pretty evenly amongst the top 8 teams, actually. All of them having a 4 and above. So no one's going home empty-handed in this top 8. Everyone's getting about 8 to 10 points around there.
Now, we said last game, because 6-9 did have a relatively low kill chicken dinner, that the gap between first and second in the overall scoreboard was not that big. It's going to be now, though. 2 chicken dinners back-to-back. They've guaranteed themselves about the 25-30 point mark per game, so that's going to push themselves up quite a bit higher. Even though the games aren't 2 high kills, they're consistent positioning, and XG, unfortunately out in 16th there.
Yeah.
They had good positioning early on, but there you go, 6-9 Esports, 2 chicken dinners, 53 points, and the Batman as well, 2 second places, I believe.
Yep, they do have 2 second places.
So top 2 locked in at this point, 13 kill points for 6-9, 17 for the Batman, but the place points really helping them out, 53 points in 2 games. Let's remind ourselves that SNG got 90 over 4 games, so they're well over halfway there in 2, but that's always going to happen with 2 chicken dinners. Let's see if they can keep it up, because it's been mostly Pedro. They've got 13 kills. I would think Pedro would have about 9 of them.
Yeah, I think he has 9 kills at the moment.
So the remaining, effectively 6 lives his team has had across the 2 games, they've gotten 4 kills.
Yeah, so Pedro's
hard carry.
A bit of a star player at the moment.
Hard carry. He's got a level 3 backpack and his team are all in it.
And you got to remember, he did the Far Eastern rotation actually in that game. So he actually picked that rotation. I don't know if it was a team call or if it was himself call, but he managed to put himself in the best position. As you can see, the kill leaders, Pedro is definitely up there. 2 players from the Batman feature on this list, as well as 1 player from TQ and Axial. So there's still a lot of competition there, but Pedro leading the way.
That said, I think Batman are the team kill leaders. They would be the ones that are most down in front. They are actually getting more kills than 6-9 have, even though 6-9 have grabbed 2 chicken dinners. But that's mainly just because of Pedro biding his time, nailing the timing on when he should come in on these late flanks, when he should move in, take his 1v1s. And fighting a 1v3 there, of course, that's always going to help. But the Batman, I think, they've been consistent as well. They've got themselves 2 second places, a whole bunch of kills to go along with it. They're not going to be too upset. However, if they get outclushed by Pedro another time, I think it's a bit of not again at that point.
Yeah, I think they'll be a bit scared of Pedro. They'll be hoping that he appears in the kill feed pretty early in the game. I don't think they'll want to avoid that man at the moment. The side of Batman, they could be happy with the way they're going at the moment. It's very consistent, very second place, but you just can't. A star player like Pedro, you can't factor in for that 1v3 clutch. No, you can't always rely on that.
No, and you've got to say, if you're in a 3v1 and you're Batman, you're like, right, boys, we've got it. And you get outplayed, that's just the way the game is. Sometimes the individual steps up massively, and Pedro's done that for his team. So, 2 games down, the same top 2 for both games. We've had 6-9 with both chicken dinners and Batman with both second places. Let's see if that trend continues. We have 2 more games for the night. We'll be right back with the South American PMCO split right after this. Welcome back to PMCO 2019, the fall split. We're taking a look at the South American region. My name is Brainstorm. I'm still joined by the lovely Smash, whose hair is far outdoing mine, and I kind of feel bad about it, but look, as long as one of us is attractive, then it's okay, and that's what you're doing here. You're the eye candy,
You're
right?
reaching, mate. But
Yeah,
you know who is attractive? Pedro and his gameplay. Oh my lord, that boy's on fire.
If you did miss that, by the way, then there's an easy way to keep up. You need to subscribe to the PUBG Mobile Esports channel on YouTube, very possibly where you're watching everything right now. Make sure that you subscribe to follow along and keep up. There is an awful lot of PUBG being played, so make sure that you don't miss any of it from the PMCO 2019 fall split. And of course, if watching Pedro get 1v3s inspires you to go play the game, which it certainly did for me, not that I'm any good, I'm not going to get a 1v3, but the opportunity is there. You can download PUBG Mobile from the Google Play Store or the App Store if you're on an Android phone or an iOS. You can grab yourself a copy of PUBG Mobile and go nuts, try and equal Pedro, and if you do, then look, I'll be impressed because that was pretty insane. 2 chicken dinners that he gets for his team alone, 1v1 and then 1v3.
It was pretty insane. I mean, the first game, you're kind of like, okay, there's a lot of 1v1s going on. Maybe Pedro got the lucky end with being out of the fight, being the third party coming in. Then he proves it all wrong by getting a 1v3
Batman,
in the next hit. And it wasn't just like a 1v3 where they all peeked him one by one. They had 2 men peek him at the same time. He gets the spray down, gets the spray transfer, kills both of them, and then the last man cowers in fear of the might of Pedro.
The last man was straight up scared. The last player, Batman, was standing up, looking for that peek, and then didn't find Pedro. He just goes prone, snakes in the grass, tries to get away, and Pedro's still able to find that one. So currently our kill leader overall for the night, and his team are our leaders as well. 9 kills in 2 games for Pedro, 4 of them in clutches, which is insane. And look, very good stuff from him. Batman as well, it must be said, 2 second places back-to-back, so they are also playing quite well. But we now move on to Miramar with the Win 94 unique weapon plane line. Looks like it's going to be going roughly southwest, I guess.
Yeah,
Compass directions are hard, but it's a reasonable plane line. It does mean that things over the far west are a little bit left out.
Yeah, places like Monte Nuevo, El Pozo might be a bit of a stretch to get to. You might need to use your cars for that. You see lots of players dropping around. Later in the plane trip, not many players actually choose to drop, or teams choose to drop around Campo Militar, Cruiser de Vale, around that area. You don't want to be stuck isolated in that northern side because there's just a lot of open fields to cross when you are rotating if you don't get the circle luck. Impala will be another one on the coast. Could be a decent pickup.
It's quite a late drop for these teams as well. We're halfway through the plane line, still 40 players inside the cabin of the plane, so looks like we might have a lot of people dropping onto Los Leones here. There goes the first team out, 2 teams out immediately as we go over Los Leones. 3 teams out of the plane, maybe even more than that. Looks like, yeah, 4 teams have lost 16 players out of the plane in the past 10 seconds. There's still 15 to go. There is going to be a lot of players coming in over Los Leones. There we go. Still 8 to go. 2 teams have not yet jumped out, and the plane is just about as far as it will go. But finally, yep, they're getting kicked out. All teams are now out of the plane. And it looks like it's the Brazilian killers who want to go for this very southwest island over towards Minas del Sur, maybe Los Higos, over to the prison as well. They are the only team here. But that circle is so far north.
That circle just completely ruined our plane line because that plane line was running nowhere near that circle. I don't think.
And so many teams dropped out over Los Leones. They're not all ending up there, but we still had 40 players in the plane as we passed over Los Leones, which is the last third of the plane line. Everyone's still in the air. They've got a long way to go. That circle, or the zone, I should say, already getting set to start moving. And this might be a bit of a scramble for all these teams down south.
It could be a scramble, but the interesting thing about this circle is there is 0 water, not a drop of water in that circle. So all of it is playable terrain. It means there could be another slow game, but players are going to have to rotate pretty quickly to get into El Pozo, Crater Fields, get the loot there. Monte Nuevo was also open. Power Grid, Picardo, those are some hot drops. 6ix9ine, our 2-time champion from today, is in Picardo, a very hot loot spot. Don't know if they are joined by anyone at the moment. It doesn't seem like it. It looks like everyone's just staying well away from them. Maybe they knew which parachute colors they wore and stayed well away, jumping out of that plane.
Can you identify teams by parachute? Is that too meta, or can you do that?
I think you could do it.
I guess, yeah.
Because there's a lot of parachute skins in PUBG Mobile, a lot of pretty ones.
I mean, if you were really paying attention, I guess you could note out which team was which. If it's me at this point, I'm pretty much just avoiding Pedro's team. Just spot out 6ix9ine's parachutes and go the other way. But I mean, or actually, no, it might even be a viable strategy while we're talking metagaming. If you find their parachutes, everyone drop on 6-9 because they haven't really been a threat until late game. Their strategy's very much been play it slow, avoid the engagements. They've really been splitting up into 3 and 1, Pedro off by himself, and he's been ending up clutching in the very late game situations. So maybe you want to just hot drop onto 6-9 and try and knock him out.
I reckon some early pressure might be the key to victory here for these teams. Putting some pressure on the champions so far, as we see a lot of teams moving around. Graveyard getting populated by the squad of Batman, TQ in the area too.
Intz by themselves in the far northeast should have pretty free looting over the military camp up there.
And they'll know that they're pretty much alone completely, because when they jumped out of the plane, they would have seen nobody jump out with them, and they'll know that they can rotate on this north road, top north road, put some tunes on, lay back, hit the cruise control, and floor it all the way up to maybe Crater Fields, I reckon. Crater Fields is a bit more central. It is quite difficult to get out of Crater Fields if you get stuck in there. But if the zone finishes there, then you might have a decent position. And
that's the other thing as well for Intz, is they were the first team out of the plane by a long shot. Everyone else was sort of dropping pretty much. We had some teams go out over the water treatment plant roughly, but the majority of the lobby dropped out from Los Leones and further down. So Intz will know that nobody else was even out of the plane, let alone dropping anywhere near them. So they'll be feeling pretty comfortable up there. Ace and KST are, or KS I should say, keep getting tricked by the guy with a T in his name. At least I think. Or are they KST? Look, I forget. It's real tough to read words.
The team I'm feeling for at the moment is the Brazilian Killers. They found themselves on the very far south of the map, but they also have a lot of teams to rotate through. And also, the terrain there isn't fun to rotate. It's all hills or all valleys.
Having a look at the map, all of those roads are locked out. They've got a big cluster of team in the central roads. IN are currently locking out the western bridge off of the island, and then there's a whole bunch of teams if they try and head east through Los Leones. There's 4 teams clustered there, 3 teams clustered there by the looks. So unless they wait pretty much until the zone is over them before they move, they're going to have some pretty hot rotations out of here.
It's going to be very, very difficult. Although they are a team, a high caliber team, so I don't expect them to shy away from this challenge that is the rotating into this Miramar map. But I fear for them. They're going to have to rotate so late. They're going to have to wait for all these teams to go into the circle and then try and edge the circle themselves, because there's no way they can run through the mad dash of that gauntlet. There's so many teams around in that area, and we already see gunfire breaking out in that south area too. The shots being fired. Some love taps.
Have a look at IN. They're still camping this western bridge off the prison island. They saw Brazilian Killers go out. They know there was a team that went out from the plane at the very last moment that they should still be down on that island. So may end up just being able to camp them out. But it does look like the Brazilian Killers are starting to head over to that eastern bridge there as well. So depending on their timing here, they could actually hit the sweet spot. It does look like all of those teams are starting to rotate up through Los Leones as well.
Speaking of rotating, 6-9, they found themselves 4 individual cars, and they are rotating away from Picardo pretty quickly, actually. So Pedro, the star man on the bike, going forward. Got 2 level 2s, got level 3 backpack too, so he's got the gear. They've looted him up. And at this point, if you find level 3s, I think you're just giving it to Pedro.
Essentially, yeah, mate. Just come grab this.
Yeah,
get what you need.
Pop this, mate. What do you want? An AK, car, M24? Just take it all.
Take
it all, Pedro.
Literally, we'll give you our arms so you can have 4 guns. And then you can just...
That would be pretty powerful. Pedro with 4 guns.
It feels like you're like constructing Exodia at that point.
Yeah, I think
combine everything together. That's a reference that I'm not sure how many people will get, but that's okay.
The right arm of John Wick.
The right arm of John Wick.
Left arm of Pedro.
God, super team incoming. Let's put like John Wick, Pedro... Who else would we want based on what we've seen so far?
Oh, Bunny had that 1v3
Bunny,
clutch.
yeah, maybe.
It was pretty good. Some of the star players we've seen throughout the day as the circle closes in. A lot of teams now converging on the middle. TQ, Batman, Red.
Oh my God, IN are still here. Brazilian Killers are now in the zone. They're starting their rotate off, and IN still haven't moved. And now it looks like Brazilian Killers do want to take this western road out, where IN are still laying in wait. No other team is going to disturb them. They're perfectly happy to camp this bridge. Yeah, and they're going to be in the zone, as you say, for quite some time by the time they get there. So Brazilian Killers might get for a bit of a rough rotation here. In the meantime, XG getting in some gunfights with the Cream guys.
Both of these teams had a pretty poor game too.
Oh boy.
XG and Cream, so neither of these teams are going to want to go out early.
This is about to be so rough for Brazilian Killers. IN, are they actually giving it up? The timing, they might just be leaving here. This may well turn out in Brazilian Killer's favor. They're about to start coming across this bridge. The jig is about to be up one way or the other as they rotate on in, and this bridge, of course, very exposed. There is a few clusters of boxes and caravans for cover, but not going to be easy. And IN actually below this bridge. Yeah. They should be able to hear this car. They may just let Brazilian Killers pass and try and get the flank.
Oh, they might. I think one of the players from IN is going to try and peek up and get some shots in, but...
Yeah, they've definitely seen them, surely, but...
It's too late. Brazilian Killers have snuck through. And they're also rotating the correct way. They've guessed correctly. They are rotating far west on the coast road, or not the coast road, the hills road. That is unmanned at the moment. So Brazilian Killers might have found themselves in a lucky situation where they've found a way in, which is very surprising given the scenario that was laid before them. Now IN are rotating very slowly. They're going to be the unlucky ones, unless they choose to go the same way as the Brazilian Killers.
That's going to be... that's a very lucky situation for Brazilian Killers.
Oh, I can't believe it.
They've still got a fair way to go, and IN have taken the middle road of the three options that they had, so IN aren't even going to be chasing them. They do have one player who might head over that way. No, they are all on that eastern road of the two. So Brazilian Killers... somehow, not only have they found their way through IN, who are essentially camping that bridge, they've got a free shot into the western side of this circle, all the way into El Pozo.
And they could, I think El Pozo is a good shout for this. The circle very well could end there, or maybe the hills north or northeast of El Pozo. So if Brazilian Killers can get up into those northeast hills, they're going to be sitting very pretty for the rest of this game. And going into late game, they'll have a great position. They'll have 4 men up. That's something we haven't seen from them so far.
Certainly is not, and these rotations are starting to get pretty ugly. Hindra from IN is still down around that bridge they were camping at, so he's getting on his rotation.
Well, we see XG pushing Cream. Cream player lays the Molotov out just to prevent the pushing going upstairs, but again we see Cream in a situation in a house. Scary stuff as one of the players has managed to blow themselves up in a car, finishing himself off. It's incredibly unfortunate.
Things you hate to see.
That is top of the list in PUBG, is killing yourself with a car.
Oh, goodness me. Look at this rotation coming in from the south. So many teams who are potentially coming in the same way here into Monte Nuevo. I don't think anyone's going to overlap just yet, but the timing's going to be so close, and there might be a bit of a scuffle over here towards the power grid if multiple teams decide to go for that crate. There's certainly a few close to it. We haven't really seen that much emphasis placed on crates so far at PMCO 2019 at all, but spray coming into the car, exactly that. Bad Bunny just about going to escape with his life, but actually rolls his car over the other side there, and now the Combi surely going to catch a lot of bullets here, just about find some cover, but I think Bad Bunny did bin his vehicle over there, and the Combi just going to get away. I think Cream, all things considered, are relatively lucky to pull that one off. In the meantime, TQ going to get themselves a knock.
That is
11 minutes in, starting much sooner here with the gunfights.
Another spray comes in, unfortunately not going to be able to collect. Unlucky there. The crater field is going to be very populated. 6ix9ine now approaching the hills there, joining the fight. They'll hear all these gunshots going around, but knowing 6ix9ine, they'll probably play it a little slow. They don't want to get involved too early. As the van is here, get in.
Get in, boys.
We're going...
Fighting bus. I don't know. I wanted something more like catchy than fighting bus, but I got nothing. War bus. There you go.
So it is the war bus. The battle bus.
Battle bus. Perfect. Move away from that one. Car's getting sprayed down here once again. Darren getting some shots in. No finding just yet. TQ with another knockdown there.
They're still getting kills on that side, that crater field side of the map, the west of that.
And this lower rotation now starting to get very crowded around Power Grid and Monte Nuevo. A lot of teams in this area. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams?
It is 7 teams, and there are teams pushing from the blue
too. 7 teams out of the 16 because no one's been knocked, or no teams have gone down yet. That's almost half the field converging with one area.
Big spray coming in. Real have got their target in their sights. These guys are almost dead to rights in that smoke as KST get one man taken out. Confirmed now, they're down to 3.
Scar at this range can be pretty nice here for Elias, able to spray away with that AR. Actually, they're going to force the issue here. They're going to push on and try and get rid of Sentry. They know there's 2 players low in the smoke, and Sentry spotted him coming. This is going to be very rough for him indeed. Multiple players converging on his position. They've also got that flank play out to his left. There should be nothing he can do here. He will indeed get knocked and confirmed. That is IN removed from the playing field. INSANOS go out in 16th.
Oh, it's unfortunate for them. They get picked off by Real, who've been fragging pretty well, actually. I think they were 10 frags in the first game or something.
Look at that zone shift. So far north.
That is a very fast shift. All these teams on the south are going to be struggling. They'll be piling into their vehicles and trying their best to get there. Again, Brazilian Killers are in a prime position as nobody's in their path for the rotation. Intz, 6ix9ine, Brazilian Killers, and TQ all have pretty easy ways in.
Car explosion as well. Nothing for him to do. Getting rushed by way too many players who get confirmed as well. There's been to go left to try and find this one out. He's got a player who's down. One who's knocked. He will go down too. So it's all left up to NTX here in the buggy with no teammate to sit in the gunner's seat above him, unfortunately. No friends left. They've all been taken out. There's going to be the knocks coming through, or the confirms, I should say, coming through as well. Cream, for their part, still sitting pretty, but this zone is very rough. Cream do have a bit of cover for now, but there is still 5 teams coming in behind them, something like that. So there's a lot to be done. Intz, Brazilian Killers sitting pretty comfortably up in this zone. Brazilian Killers, by the way, have completed their very long rotate up the western road pretty safely at this point, and they will be establishing themselves inside the circle.
No, they've essentially just been driving simulator in this game so far, as we've seen more fighting breaking out between the side of PDZ and DRR. Looks like PDZ were actually getting the better of this engagement. He gets like the full confirm too.
Oh, Boss might just be able to finish
gets knocked
this
out
one
by
up.
the play zone though. PDZ, when you're playing in that zone, you do take a lot of damage, and unfortunately, both of these players are now.
Just gonna have a crawl off.
Yeah, they're just knocked
hang
out.
out, boys. Just relax. Nothing you can really do at this point. Might as well just chill.
No teammates coming to revive them, so they will be out of the game. They'll be spectators for the rest of this one. Yeah, it's just quite unfortunate to see this. Just two fellas going down.
Nothing really much that can be done. The play zone will confirm Marky as well. And looks like, unfortunately, we may have a brief issue that we'll be working to resolve pretty soon. But look, that happens. That circle was a pretty aggressive shift north, so the rotations were going to be tough for those teams to get in control of. But Brazilian Killers, I think, so far from where we left that game off, they were certainly looking like the highlighted team who'd managed to extricate themselves somehow from a very awkward situation, looting so far away from the circle on the prison island. They managed to hit the gap through the IN boys camping the bridge, take the western road all the way up into the circle, which is where they will be hanging out for now. So, look, the circle really probably the biggest killer so far. We've had a lot of players having trouble with the zone coming in.
Yeah, Cream and Real have been in the kill feed as well. They've been getting a few kills. I think TQ also got a few kills as well. But it is that play zone that's killing everyone, just because it was such an aggressive shift north, as you mentioned. Usually when you're looking at the zone, you kind of see it as a player and you think, oh, it's going to centralize, it's going to centralize. But this one just didn't. It just refused. It just kept on going north.
This way, bye.
Yeah, we're going north. So it's quite in, I don't know, Intz managed to get, they played on the northeast side of the map. They rotated all the way across the north side and they managed to find themselves in a good position. We've got Brazilian Killers in a good position. The other teams, 6ix9ine, also didn't take any gunfights early, so they're in a good position inside the circle too, up above north of Crater Fields. But it's anyone's game still. Which is one poor decision, one poor rotation, and either one of those squads could go down pretty quickly.
I mean, even with good rotations, with the way the circle's been, it's just a very, very tough rotate to make, given how many teams did get isolated south. They only just made it into the bottom of the circle as it was, and then that really aggressive north shift to be up around, I've got the names of the places around there already, but you know, going up north so far leaves those teams who only just made it into the circle, again with a really, really big rotation to make. So it's going to be a bit of a rough recovery for them, but certainly still doable. We still had a lot of teams up. We did jump out of that game, and a lot of players still alive. So again, with the South American region, we're seeing some slower starts to the games, everyone prioritizing looting over the early engagements, and then some pretty hectic gun battles once we get into the final couple of circles. Yeah,
it is pretty hectic. And I thought we were going to get an El Pozo city circle at the end there. Those are so exciting, the city circles on Miramar. They're so fun to watch, but unfortunately, didn't get it. We get the north of Crater Fields. There's a little bit of compound still in play, a lot of hills still in play, which is important because the players that will rotate south late will be pushing uphill into the already established teams, and there was a lot of teams south. They were packed in like sardines down there. I don't see any team coming out of there unscathed.
Yeah, no, there was, I think when we counted it, was like 7 teams trying to rotate through the same 2 roads, so it was looking pretty tough for them to actually be able to get their rotations off safely. So
Smells a traffic jam, doesn't it?
it does, yeah. And traffic jams in
Yeah.
PUBG are not what you want because everyone's cars are vulnerable to bullets. So look, we'll have to see how it does go when we end up jumping back in. But definitely a more aggressive zone than what we've seen previously.
Yeah, it certainly has been a very aggressive zone. The first few zones were kind of more centralized. On Erangel, the first zone was incredibly friendly, very central. Same one with Sanhok, actually. It was a pretty friendly zone. Everyone managed to get what they wanted, go loot in, but this one's been a bit more aggressive, a bit more bite to it. And you can see that by the fact that there's so many teams stacked up on top of each other around 15-20 minutes into the game. We haven't seen that yet.
And that's really just been the story of South America so far, is that we have everyone sort of spreads out and they tend to respect their looting. I thought we'd get some hot drops for sure this time around, given that we had like 8 teams bail out over Los Leones, but still the drops were pretty separated, and that's been the case for all of our games so far. As we do get ready to jump back in, looks like some kills have gone down in the meantime. 11 teams left. The circle now pretty much moving almost immediately as we jump back in here. All teams in the southern half of the circle.
And as familiar faces, Batman, 6'9", in the center of the circle with the prime position at the moment, as we see Ace taking a shot from the high ground in Crater Fields, knocking a man out. XG are also in a decent position on the rotate. They're going to be clashing with Red, but 6'9", Batman, Brazilian Killers, TQ, they've all got so much real estate to play with right now.
They do indeed, and I mean, if this circle shifts north again, okay, never mind. I was going to say, if it shifts north, then that could put a lot of these players out, but it's centering on Crater Fields.
That is
all of
nasty.
these teams with a long way to go. And look at Ace, the positioning that they've got. Red also in a really good spot. Red controlled the cliff edge. Ace are inside the one compound remaining. Real got themselves some decent positioning at the bottom of the circle, but the rotations for the rest of these teams are going to be pretty rough. They've all got to make it into essentially the open.
All of a sudden, Batman are in a terrible position. They're on the low ground. They're away from the zone, and they're getting picked off by TQ on the high ground. Red now with that M24, looking for any head that pops up. Just looking for a shot, but the rotations from 6 and Brazilian Killers are going to try and dictate the game here. TQ getting more sprays onto Batman, and they're going in for the finish too. Batman trading out as much as possible, but
2 trades come through from the one.
3!
That's 1 player left for Batman, I think. He's getting it all done. And never mind, they have got the revives across now, but they have bit back with a vengeance. Batman have been our frag leaders, even though they've not been able to get themselves a win just yet. 2 second places and 2 high kill games for them, and they're continuing that here. They seem to be able to get their knockdowns if they can, and 6-9 once again starting to lose players. Pedro's still alive for them, and that may well be the crucial one. Batman now stuck in the zone. Going to need to get a move on here pretty quickly, and they're starting to go down. They're out. Batman have been eliminated by the play zone.
Axial doing a lot of damage to them. 6-9 dropping players now too. It is Pedro outside the circle. It looks like to be the last
Again,
one
he's just
remaining.
Lurking. He loves it. Just plays super late, lets his teammate charge in. I wonder if that's the strat. He's like, right, guys, I'm feeling it. If you can go in and soften up any of these guys, get a couple of knocks, get a couple of elims, whatever.
Get me the information,
I can clutch.
yeah.
Just give me what I need, and I'll clutch it.
So PDZ fighting onto KST, and they will go down. So we're only down to 9 teams now. Real getting some action in there too. PDZ are in the middle of the Ace guys though. That could be a fight that breaks out.
Speaking of fights breaking out, XG, heavy damage into this smoke, getting some knocks onto Cream as well. They're going to peek out, and it looks like it should be pretty okay for XG here. They've lost 1 player, but with the car explosion, looks like they were moving in to try and mop up, and indeed they've done just that. That is Cream out.
Not an awful game for them, but they would have preferred a little bit more. XG showing up. Brazilian Killers now onto Red. This fight's going to go, and it's going to dictate the high ground for this crater. So important as the Molotov comes out. Doesn't look like it's going to be able to connect it.
No,
makes that smoke. Oh, it's so close.
Goodness me. If there was a nade here in any of these Brazilian killer boys, that'd be perfect, but it doesn't look like they have any, or at least none have been thrown out.
No, and they are watching multiple angles at the moment, so they're trying not to spread themselves too thin, but there's a lot to watch.
I just want to watch Pedro as well. He's still outside the circle. He might even go for a big backstab on these cliffs here.
If he might be hearing the gunshots and seeing Brazilian Killers.
That shift.
He has to rotate northwest now. He's no choice but to rotate northwest.
Ace are still inhabiting that compound, but the circle has shifted a long way away from this. So they're going to have to move. Real as well need to move up north. Pedro, I think, is again just going to try and play the late game, stay down for as long as he can, and the less noise he makes, the less they'll suspect of him being here. He might be able to come in for that cleanup, but we still have 4 teams with 3 players up. Ace 1, Brazilian Killers, XG, and Real Esports. 4 players alive, Red with 3, and then Pedro the lone man all on his own, and did
He goes
just go down to the zone?
Yeah, he did. He mistimed his med kit, and he goes down to the zone. So an anticlimactic end to the King. As we see XG in a prime position now, looking down onto the side of Real.
A shot.
The Groza comes out, gets the first kill, but now the trade starts to come through. That M16, pretty powerful at this type of range. The nade comes through. It's not going to be enough to explode the side of XG. As Real start to push in on this high ground. They are getting pinched at XG. There's more frags. Red are coming in from one side. It's going to be Real from the other. XG are in a terrible position now. They've bitten off a bit more than they could chew.
Yeah, this may well be them getting eliminated at this point. They're getting shot from so many angles from multiple teams. At this point, it just comes down to who's able to get those kill points on the board. Still 3 teams with 4 players up, but only just XG down to just 1 at this point. And that will be Nem out and not, I believe. Yep, there they go. They're eliminated in 5th place. All teams now fighting on this hill. Still with a player outside the zone there for Ace hanging out in the compound. He might actually just be making a run for the drop now. Ace
are in an awful position of having to push up the high ground into these 2 squads already fighting, Red and Real. Established. Brazilian Killers are just watching this all unfold and laughing. They don't need to do much here. They just need to stay out of the line of fire, and they do manage to pick up a kill on the Ace player that was trying to rotate in.
That said, this is still anyone's game. We've got 3 teams with 4 players up if Ace can get that revive happening. Red Cannons with 3. This is a much more competitive final couple of circles than we've seen. It's the last 2 games have devolved into 1v1s, 1v2s, that sort of thing very quickly, but this is still mostly a team game. 4 teams and 15 alive.
You'd have to back Brazilian Killers here at the moment. They haven't had to expend pretty much anything. They're getting more kills on these Ace players. They've found the angle, and they're picking them off on that hillside. Some valuable kill points for the Brazilian Killers, who have been pretty quiet so far. Spray comes in, another one almost going down. As they're actually picking up all these kills. Ace are in a rough position, and they could be going down next. They've only got 1 player alive, 2 on the revive, and that's it. They're donezo.
Goes straight in where those guys were. Real is still over here as well, so Brazilian Killers don't look like they want to aggress down. They've got the kills they need. They don't need that. Pardon me. They don't need that airdrop. Exactly that. The circle is with them. Red, 3 players up. Real look like they're getting both revives, so they'll have 4 up as well.
They'd be hurting for meds though now. They've taken 2 big fights in a row. They've fought XG and they also fought Red. They've had multiple knocks. They'll be out of utility. They'll be out of meds. They'll be relying on their guns essentially to do the talking. As we see a plethora of smokes coming out.
Walling off that entire crate, maybe trying to get some fresh level 3s.
Could be
for that team, which could be smart for them given how many heals they've had to expend so far in this game. No one able to find some superior positioning over the hilltop just yet.
Spray goes through the smoke.
A little bit cheeky there on that push, but no one going for that crate either. I thought that might have been the aim of all those smokes, but it doesn't look like it. That said, the play area now going to move in, and this is about to get really tight on this ridge line. The circle's going to force everyone up into each other. You can see there's just the tiniest of hill barriers separating each other. Brazilian Killer's actually moving a car around, getting some mobile cover happening as well.
Yeah, I think they might blow that car up and use it as cover, but they seem to be hanging on to it. And then one player gets Brazilian Killer getting very tagged. Doesn't manage to go down, manages to escape with his life. You can see the armor on this Red player. Barely got any durability on that helmet. And barely durability on the vest of his comrade. As one of the Real players has actually gone for that crate.
He will
just
indeed.
South of the Brazilian Killers.
I think he's actually going to be able to pull it off as well. We'll have to see what he gets out of it.
He's definitely got what the loot was in there
just
now.
Just really be able to get out. I mean, maybe if he goes down the bottom of the hill, he might be able to use the hilltop to his advantage. Maybe go behind that blown up car, but...
Nade knockdown goes on to the side of Real's. Brazilian Killers showing that they haven't used that much for utility just yet. They've still got plenty in the tank, and there is a rotate on the bottom of the hill.
If he's got like an AUG or something out of this.
He got the MK. That's a very good gun. Very good gun too.
So he might be able to do some serious damage here, but his teammates shot like 5, so he uses a big gun. Brazilian Killers go for the push onto Red, but cop some heavy losses for it. All of a sudden, 2 players down on all teams. Car explosion is going to confirm one as well. Still that big gun from the crate in play, but look how close these guys are to each other. That should be the knock onto those Brazilian Killers players on the hillside there.
They are knocked out. There's 1 Brazilian Killers player left, and he's rezzing his teammates on the high ground at the moment. There's 3 on the side of Real alive. He has to go for those rezzes. He needs to finish this guy to stop this information coming through. He does.
We'll get the
finishes it off
as well. 6 alive, 2 teams
3v3.
remaining. It is indeed a 3v3. The res is going to be coming through, so both teams pretty even here. I think like Real should be worse off in terms of meds. But you can see they've already got a couple of first aid kits left on these guys. So even though they've had to do a lot of healing already, it looks like they're still doing okay. But this zone is pretty much going to come down to, it actually ends up on Real's side. Brazilian Killers are going to need to come up the slope to them. This could well play into their favor.
Brazilian Killers have one player on the flank at the moment, just to the south of your screen now. You can see low players on the side of Real. They're using those stims to kick in, but they take some time. He's going around looking for any sort of med kit. He finds a fresh level 2 vest. That's handy, but he needs to get that health up. That's what he's wanting at the moment.
Does indeed, and this could still go either way. The positioning looks to favor Real for now, but this flank here in the bottom left of your screen from the Brazilian Killers could be enough. They can find some damage here. They're actually starting to encircle it, but the first kills will go the way of Real. Both two players charging over the hill line now, and it looks like this is Real's game to win. Brazilian Killers trying desperately to hold on, but taking a lot of damage. No, they managed to get a kill through. Looks like this could still go anyway. It's incredibly hard to tell, but it looks like Brazilian Killers are coming out with the better off getting the knocks, and it will be the Brazilian Killers. The zone was not with them at the end there, but they're able to get it done, and a big game from them. 14 kill chicken dinner.
That's well needed too for the side of the Brazilian Killers. They were quiet in the first 2 games. Obviously, they were a champion team. They changed a few members up, brought some new faces in, and I mean, now they've got the chicken dinner underway. Maybe we see the momentum rolling. First time we haven't seen Batmen. First time we haven't seen 6ix9ine in the top 2.
As well, 6ix9ine, 0 kills. No kills at all that entire game for them.
Surprising, isn't it?
It does seem like they're kind of playing to set up Pedro at this point. Just 3 players sort of YOLO into the zone and try and get any info damage that they can. But Pedro did get timed out by the play zone, unfortunately. So no kills gained for them. And that was always going to be the problem with 6ix9ine, that they do have 2 chicken dinners. So they're still going to be sitting up in first, but they've both been relatively low kill games. I think they're at like 15 kills in 2 wins.
Yeah,
we saw teams getting 15 kill chicken dinners yesterday. It was like one game.
That was it. We saw a 15 and a 17 kill chicken dinner last night.
So to have 15 and 2 chicken dinners and then go out with 0 kills in the following game, like, they're still going to be fine with the points, given they have 40 placement points just in the first 2 games. They're in, what, 6th there? So I think that's 6 or 7. I can't remember exactly. We'll have to have a look.
They can drop pretty quickly, though. Because they haven't had that kill buffer as well as the chicken dinner points, if they stop getting the placement points, they're not getting the kill points. So they're just going to get no points. Yeah. And that's when teams can catch up pretty quickly.
And that was exactly that. Like, that game, they got the placement points, but 0 kills for their entire roster is... Again, they'll still be up on top with double chicken dinners to their name, but it's not the greatest start for them. And the Batman also didn't have too great of a time there, unfortunately. 2 second places back-to-back, but the 3rd game, they did get taken out pretty early on, like top 8 sort of time.
Yeah, they had an unfortunate, the circle shifting hard south. It was shifting north all game, but the one time it shifts south, Batman get caught out by TQ on the high ground. There was no way into that Crater Fields where it ended up finishing.
Unfortunately not.
First time I've seen a Crater Fields game, I believe.
Well, there you go.
Really interesting. It finishes on the hillside of Crater Hills. So the team Ace that was in Crater Hills, they banked on it going all the way into Crater. They couldn't get out.
Compound as well, and they did get taken out.
They were just surrounded all by the high ground.
And that was a really awkward sort of team fight at the end there for Real and Brazilian Killers. It was, the circle was on one side of the ridgeline, which was actually Real's side, but didn't go their way. However, having a look at the kill points, that's a 34-point chicken dinner for Brazilian Killers, 14 kills for them. And I mean, have a look at this. 6ix9ine, they finished in 6th, but they're not even in the top 8 because 0 kill points for them. That's a big game out of Brazilian Killers. Real have a good one as well. Batman also not in the top 8.
No, it's a bit of a surprise to see, and that will close up the leaderboard just a bit more. Brazilian Killers, that is a big chicken dinner though. We're talking 50 points for 6ix9ine after 2 chicken dinners, and these guys got 34 after 1. That's a big chicken dinner. It's a feast.
It is, and there you go, 9th place due to those no kill points. They actually finished in 6th, but knocked down to 9th. Batman only get the 1 point, going out in 11th to 16th place, but they get 4 kills, so they keep themselves competitive, and Intz this time having a really rough game as well as INSANOS. So 6ix9ine will still be on top, 59 points, but Brazilian Killers right on their tail. They catapult themselves over Batman into second, 48 points, 21 kill points, equaling Batman as the highest fragging teams.
Yeah, that is a real surprise to just see them leapfrog so high. I mean, Brazilian Killers probably would have been at the bottom end of the top 8, maybe not even in the top 8 before this game. And then they
having a look at the moves up and down, they had to be at least 6th or 7th because everyone below that point has moved down. So they jumped up a long way indeed. Looking at the bottom end of the scoreboard here, Intz, 3 games, 3 kills, 3 11th to 16th finishes with only 3 placement points. it's not been a great start for them. And of course, these teams on your screens, the reason they all have no points is because they are in Groups C and D, which we will get to tomorrow, so no frets there. Pedro has been joined by one of the Batman players, Kinobala, both on 9 kills in 3 games. So again, it is Pedro and Batman who've been fragging really hard, but of course they've been immediately equaled by Brazilian killers with a hot game there.
Yeah, you see Axial still up there for TQ, but one player from Brazilian Killers sneaking in. It's been more of a team effort from Brazilian Killers. We saw one player, I believe it was Senabi, with 6 kills that game, but the rest had like 2-3, 2-3-3. And that's something you want to see.
6-3-3-2 for their team.
Yeah, that's a good sign for them. It means they're working well as a team. They're not all relying on one player, because you see if that one player does fail, in the case of Pedro this game, then you walk away with almost nothing.
And of course, we're not going to pin all of 6ix9ine's hopes on Pedro because that would not be fair.
No,
But it's just because you see him clutch 2 wins in the first 2 games, then you think, yeah, this guy's on fire. It doesn't go so well for him that game, but we do, of course, still have one more game here for the first day of the South American region here at PMCO 2019. We go back to Erangel for one last game right after this short break. Welcome back to PMCO 2019. My name is Brainstorm. I'm joined, as always, by the delectable Smash. I'm just going to think of more adjectives to throw in front of
Delectable,
it.
that's an interesting one.
It's a good one, yeah. Haven't used delectable in a little while, but we've got one more game to go, and Game 3 wound up being quite different from 1 and 2.
Yeah, it did. Obviously, Brazilian Killers coming out on top with a big chicken dinner too, 14 kills, I believe. But the Batmen, they went quiet. So did 6ix9ine.
Yeah,
they went
no
quiet. Miramar was a completely different game to what we saw. Still heavy late game, lots of teams with lots of 4 players. Ace, unfortunately, having to rotate up a high ground meant they got shot down. But it's still a nice finish. Real doing pretty well too.
And if you did miss that game, then, well, there's an easy way of fixing that. You can subscribe to the PUBG Mobile Esports YouTube channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're probably already on the channel already, so you can just hit that subscribe, hit the bell if you want notifications for when we're live, which is pretty much all the time right now. And of course, if watching all of this gets you fired up to play PUBG, you can find PUBG Mobile on the Google Play Store or the iOS App Store, depending on your platform of choice, so you can get involved in the action, just like all of our teams are here. Not like we are, because we're, talking about it, not playing it, but you guys at home can feel free to get involved in that one. So, we've got one more game for the morning, evening. I'm not actually sure how this works in local time, but I'm going to say evening, because why not?
Evening, why not?
Either way, we've got one more game. We head back to Erangel for our Game 4.
Back to Erangel, where we had that 1v1v1 situation. We had Pedro clutching up. He needs to do it again, though, because they're falling behind on the points. They're very close to Brazilian Killers taking them over, just because they haven't been getting as many kills on the side of 6ix9ine.
Exactly that. Like, they had, I think, a 6th place last game,
Yeah.
but no kills at all.
But for me, we've seen a lot of friendly circles today. It's been pretty kind, the map, the PUBG gods have been pretty kind. I want to see a military-based circle for the last one of the day. Something
Military-based
spicy.
circle? All right.
Something a bit fiery to finish it off.
You know what? Why not?
Yeah.
Just something a little bit different. I mean, let's have a Pachinki circle. Why not? Just get
The
in there.
cheeky circle would be fun, yeah.
Get in there. Just chuck us all in the most chaotic zone possible. That would be a good time. But going to be jumping into the game very shortly. So currently it is still 6ix9ine up on top of the leaderboard. They did get the first 2 chicken dinners of the day, with Pedro getting a 1v1 and a 1v3 for map 1 and map 2 respectively. But then third map, last map, no kills, out in 6th, but finished up in 9th or something due to getting their no kill points on the board. They were looking to turn things around a little bit here. Pedro, by the way, still tied for kill leader, I believe, with one of the Batman players
9,
too, both on 9. Batman have been having some really frag-heavy games, but we do go back to Erangel for the last time today, for the second time today. 16 towns, the DP28, the dinner plate, is the unique weapon here. And let's have a look at where this plane is going to go. It's a very, very southern plane line heading across the bottom half of the map. That rules out essentially the entire top section of the island. We're not likely to see a Zaki, a shooting range, any of those sorts of places. And we might even have some hot drops onto the military base.
I'd hope to see that. Novo military base might be very hot here. Milta as well, Milta Power, all in play. But that, I don't know who booked tickets for that flight, but it must have been bloody cheap, because that plane doesn't visit many locations, does it?
52 players or 50 players still in cabin. A bunch of teams getting out early, looking like they want to head up north towards Gatcurrent Hospital. We'll see, though, how many players are going to drop over this military base. It's definitely a much faster drop this time around. 36 players in the cabin, and we're not even halfway through that plane's flight. But I think this will be the big one. We might have a couple teams go out above the bridge, and then the majority bailing out above the military base here. We'll see, as it looks like some teams are heading up for Pachinki, and now the drops start to come in. Let's see if we do end up with some squabbles here in the military base.
Well, there's not much to the north of that river around where these teams have dropped, so logic would dictate that they would be going to the military base. It looks like there'll be a couple of teams going towards Farm and Milta, maybe seeing how many parachutes were there and chickening out a bit. Looks like 6ix9ine will be committing to the military base drop, with Brazilian Killers going for Pachinki, it seems.
And it almost looks like 6ix9ine have psyched everyone out. I thought for sure we'd have multiple teams dropping military base, but everyone else is bailing from that. Perhaps a bit of a case of, oh, everyone will go military base, so we won't, as 6ix9ine didn't want to actually do that. Is an incredibly friendly circle.
That is a very friendly circle for the plane trip, but it's not a friendly circle if it ends up going to military base. Just because there's only 2 teams on that military island, Soknoska Island, in Real and 6ix9ine.
Well, there's quite a bit of water in that circle as well, so it's either going to shift harshly north and get away from military base, or it could even angle up being a military island circle.
Yeah, it's looking, it'll either hard shift southeast or it will hard shift north.
Or northwest, over towards
northwest
Gatka. We could end up with like a Gatka finish, maybe somewhere over there, but that would be a pretty big shift indeed. And I think at this point, 6ix9ine and Real are both just hoping that we wind up with a hard south shift and a military island final circle.
It's very possible.
Said, Most teams are pretty separated for now. Intz heading up north to try and grab themselves some loot. They might even make it as far as Georgia Pole here, but Iron's right on top of them. And there might actually be a clash between Iron and that Intz player up north. Nope. Looks like he's made it across the bridge, but he's alone. So whoever that is, looks like it's Zinas is going to be able to go up and loot Georgia Pole for free, but the rest of his team are still within the circle down south of Ruins.
There's a lot of action going into Pachinki too. Intz is approaching by car there as well. There are the Brazilian Killers there as well as another team. I can't quite make out who that is. They're stacked on top of each other as we see the crates being looted in Old Mate Novo. Nice place to be. Nice place to loot. Lots of loot in that area. As we see Batman actually moving towards the military island. As we see the
Killers with first blood.
Yeah, this Pachinki fight is popping off already as Brazilian Killers get 2 knocks early on. As Batman are moving towards the military island there, 6-9 are. And 6-9 have been played as well.
Brazilian Killers just knocked out Hard Drop. Like, it feels like. They didn't get all of them, obviously, but they just got an awful lot of kills there.
I think they're about to get the last man from Hard Drop. He's on the run. I know where he is.
Yeah, there you
Down
go.
he goes.
And that's Hard Drop out in 16th place. 2 Brazilian Killers. That's the first fast squad wipe that we've seen in this South American region.
Very risky from Hard Drop. They haven't had a good day at all, and they're dropping right on where Brazilian Killers like to drop in Pachinki. I mean, you got to go for glory, I guess, but didn't show.
Go home.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, given that we're still so early in the overall tournament, there's still a lot of time for these teams to go for the chance plays, the low percentage plays. This probably won't work, but if it does, we'll be well off. Because, sure, they've had a pretty weak sort of day overall now that we can see they're out in 16th in Game 4. But there's still a lot of games yet to be played. So at this point, this could well be just them feeling out the rest of the lobby, trying to figure out what sort of hot drops they can get away with, if any, where they can loot, where other teams are going to be looting. So we've played 3 out of 4 maps now, and McKendy will be coming in a couple of days in place of one of the other maps. On that point, by the way, I think we pretty much always have double Erangel. So we've got first and fourth game will be that Erangel, and then the middle 2 maps will change out between Sanhok, Miramar, and McKendy.
I don't mean to alarm you.
Please do alarm me. I'm ready to be alarmed.
But Pedro has level 3 vest, level 3 helmet, AWM, and ghillie suit.
Goodness gracious me. I'm alarmed. I'm certainly alarmed.
That is very alarming if you're an enemy of Pedro. You should have the fear of God in you at the moment.
Speaking of alarm, we've got a red zone.
Yeah, it looks like.
First time we've seen a red zone, I think, all tournament pretty much. But
Yeah. We have the Batman rotating in at the moment, coming in to 6-9 sight lines. There's also Cream trying to make their way across. There's another kill for the Brazilian Killers. They've found an Intz player lost in the wilderness, it seems, as the Intz squad are split up in a 2-2 fit. And they have found that lone guy. There is a 2-2 split for Intz, which means they're down to 3 already. It's quite unfortunate as 6-9 player does take a tumble quickly.
well then, interesting start for the game so far. We're back again. Hello. Hopefully this won't take
Howdy.
too long. G'day. Hit him with a g'day.
Hit him with a g'day.
Just in case you haven't figured out where our ridiculous accents are from, we'll just hit all the Australianisms out here. But look, Pedro even set up for success early on. Level 3 armor, level 3 everything, and AWM on his back as well. We haven't really seen too many snipe plays from him or from anyone. It's been a lot of AR action so far in our 3 games and half of the 4th that we've seen for South America. But he's certainly set up pretty well for success here. And look, if he can get himself another big clutch on board, another couple kills, then his team is straight back in it. But for me, the rest of 6-9 needs to step up and start finding some kills. It can't just be Pedro.
Certainly, Pedro needs some mates to help him out. He's set up for success now with all that loot, but I can't believe that 5 kills already for the Brazilian Killers in that game. They cleaned out that squad hard drop in Pachinki straight away, and then they managed to catch an Intz player as well. So, I mean, that was a good start for a game for them.
It was indeed. So, I think we've got to potentially repair that game. We'll figure out exactly what's going on once we do jump back in. But regardless, it was a good start for Brazilian Killers, who did find themselves the chicken dinner in game number 3. So they're sitting at a pretty good standpoint if they can continue to rack up the kill points here, push themselves further up the leaderboard. 6-9 still had a bit of a lead, courtesy of that double chicken dinner in games 1 and 2. But if they have low placings and low kill performances, which is what they had in game 3, they finished 6th, I think, but because of 0 kills, wound up in 9th.
Yeah.
If they're going to continue to have games like that where they just don't get anything done, then it's consistency that wins the day, right? Like looking back at the wild card, that was insane consistency. We had one team who finished in the top 3 every single time. They did second, third, first, third. That was SNG out of Kazakhstan. But That's insane consistency. When we say consistency, we're really meaning if you can finish from 3 to 6, probably every game.
That's where you want to be. 3 to 6 with a handful of kills, maybe 4 or 5 kills. That's kind of where you want your average game to level out to be. At the moment, they're getting the placement points, but they're not getting the kill points. So their kill points are pretty low for a team that's winning games.
I think they had... Actually, because they didn't get any kills in game number 3.
Yeah.
They're at 15 kills in 3 games.
So that's 5 kills
and
each.
15 kills in 2 games, essentially, because anything in game 3. The problem with that is, it's not 5 kills each, because 9 of them are Pedro.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's
6 kills between the remaining 3 players. But look, still a chance for them to get back into things here. It's really, I think the Batmen have been the standout consistency team for me. Not in the placings, but they've been one of our highest fragging teams consistently. I think they're tied with... tied with the Brazilian Killers, because they had a really big chicken dinner in terms of kills in game 3. So tied on the kills. I think it's 21 from memory for both of those 2 teams, which is a decent kill count off of 3 games. It's a lot of extra points you're getting, even if you're not getting the chicken dinners. And 6-9, they started out so hot, clutches back-to-back, double chicken dinner, but things looking a little bit shaky for them now. So, I mean, hopefully they can pick it up this game.
Yeah, I think that maybe they've done enough for today with that double chicken dinner, but they're going to want to look at their game plan going into the next set of group stage games, because if they're not getting those kill points, they'll get figured out pretty early that teams will know that they don't want to play early game at all. They don't want to take any fights, and maybe teams will start dropping on them because they won't be prepared. Maybe they'll be split up looting, maybe they'll be, bypassing guns to get the best guns that they possibly can in the situation. They could get jumped pretty early, and that would be unfortunate for them because their late game decision making is pretty decent. We saw Pedro and another player go on a big flank on Sanhok and go pretty deep into the game, so I mean, I like to see that.
I'd personally like to see more hot drops in general, especially if you're one of the teams who is currently in the bottom 8, given that, yes, bottom 8 is elimination, but there's a lot of games to play. So if you are in the bottom 8 right now, you haven't really got too many kills over the last 3 games, hot drop one of the leaders. See if you can grab yourself some guns, maybe knock them out super early and have a better chance going forward to grab some kills. If you do go out, then, I mean, you've already had a pretty rough start to it, but there's so much PUBG left to be played that it's not really going to get you any lower. It's not the safest strategy, of course, but, I mean, I just like hot drops, to be honest, too.
Yeah, I like the early engagement, too. They set up a nice little storyline, and it means that maybe we find a kill leader that can do more than 17 kills in one game. Maybe we break the 20 mark. I want to see a 20-kill chicken dinner before the end of this tournament.
I'm sure we'll get it.
It's a big ask. But, I mean, for the first game that we casted, 17 kills. So it's possible.
And I think we've worked out that over the next 5 weeks, we're doing... It's something like 100+ games of PUBG. So surely somewhere in that we'll get like an island finish on Miramar and we'll get a 20-kill chicken dinner and all of this sort of thing. So either way, I mean, maybe. Like we've got such a large sample size that hopefully we'll get what we need, right?
Oh, certainly. I
what we want, I should say. We don't need anything. We're just here to commentate on the games as they come. But we can have a selfish list of wants of things we'd like to see. A really big kill, a high kill chicken dinner, some, like, an islands finish. I mean, we've got some time. Let's flesh this out. What else do we want? Maybe a Pachinki circle?
Pachinki circle would be nice. Maybe a cement factory circle or mount circle on Vikendi as well would be nice. The mount's very nice to play around.
We yet to see Vikendi so far because day 1 has the same map rotation across all regions.
Sanhok, I'm not sure what I'd want to see from the finish there. There's nothing really too exciting for me. Maybe a temple finish would be nice, or maybe a...
Yeah, we haven't really seen temple get much use at all so far. No. The 2 Sanhoks we've seen.
Painam was close to being in the center circle for the last one, but unfortunately just rotated north. But I'd like to see just more of these wacky circles that throw you off a little bit because they make the most fun rotations, and then that's when you get the high kill games and you get players adapting on the fly, and that's where you see the best PUBG.
I also really want just this is all terrible for the players, by the way, the things that we want, because it's fun to watch and much harder to play, but stuff like, I'd love to see like a Milta power circle, for instance, when the plane line is north-south on the west side of the map. Just anything that involves really, really long and fast rotations would be a good time. Just anything like that. Of course, so much harder to play, but that's the good thing. We're not sitting here playing. We're sitting here watching, and therefore we want the players to have to do all the really hard stuff because it's more entertaining, right?
Well, that's it. We're just here for the entertainment value. We want to be entertained, and that's the best way to do it, is get these wacky, weird circles going out and making these teams rotate and use their brains instead of their thumbs. One of the teams that I've been impressed with, along with the Batmen, is teams like Real that are having consistent finishes. I think TQ are having consistent finishes. They've been up in that top 4, top 5, pretty much consistently getting frags as well. So this group's got a lot of competitors. It's a lot tighter than the wildcard group we covered earlier.
Oh yeah, the wildcard group, by the way, if you missed it, if you have missed any of this, remember, subscribe to the PUBG Esports Mobile YouTube channel. The wildcard group, which was last night for us local time, so about probably 10 hours ago now, something like that, it would have started, 12 hours, whatever it was, we wound up with first and second is 95 points to, or 85 points to 55 points, I think, so a 30-point gap between first and second. And then second is on 55 points, third or 10th place is on 25 points. So it is the same gap of 30 points between first and second as there is between second and 10th in the wildcard. Right now in South America, of course, we still have one game to be played, but from memory, it's like 15 points or so between first and second, and then like 15 points between second and seventh or something. It's much more competitive.
And that's really what you want to see in the storylines, especially with the first day of the groups. You want to see Group A and Group B competing against each other, trading evenly. You don't want one team to dominate because that throws the whole rest of the groups out. So when we get into C and D, when we get into A versus C and etc.
All the other combos we can do.
We can see these teams are all kind of vying, and the knockout stages become super high intensity, and you never know what's going to happen. But at the moment, I do know what's going to happen, and Brazilian Killers are going to win the next game.
You reckon?
We're going to go 2 chicken dinners for 6ix9ine and then 2 chicken dinners for Brazilian Killers.
Yeah, speaking of that, 6ix9ine surprisingly don't have that big a lead for having 2 chicken dinners. Like the team who are 30 points ahead in wildcard, which is SNG out of Kazakhstan, they had a third, second, first, third. So very, very high placings for them and good amounts of kills, which gets them 30 points ahead. But we didn't have any team in wildcard double up on chicken dinners. We've had that immediately here in South America, but not with the biggest of leads because 6ix9ine just haven't been having those high kill performances.
No, they haven't, which is, I wouldn't say disappointing, but you do like to see those big high kill performances in chicken dinner. We got one last game with Killers picking up 14 kills on their way to that chicken dinner. But I don't know, 6ix9ine have done a really good job for me. They weren't a team that I knew very much of coming into this. I didn't expect much of them. To come out and get 2 chicken dinners in a row, they've got to be proud of that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, didn't get the performance they wanted on Miramar. Maybe that's a weak map for them. Maybe they just chose some bad rotations or chose some bad times to push in. But I don't know. They should be very happy overall for today's play.
Yeah. And the thing that's interesting to me, talking about like sort of the meta we've seen so far in South America, we had last game was the first time, or no, the start of the game we just had, like the half game we just had. It's the first time we've seen a really early squad wipe. Other than that, it's been quite slow to actually get into the engagements. Like what, first game of the day was 13 minutes before first blood.
Yeah,
which is very slow. But that could be down to Group A and Group B having pretty compatible, I suppose, drop or loot locations. Like no one's really hot dropping, no one's fighting over the same loot circles, and A and B have had a chance to figure each other out now, right? Like we're in game 4, they've played against each other, they've covered all the maps from our pool, they're doing Erangel again at the end. C and D tomorrow will have a similar sort of thing, they can figure out who's going to loot where, but then we start getting groups mixed. Our next group of matches after we do C and D are A versus C and B versus D. And what I'm excited for is to see if we start having hot drops where multiple teams want to loot the same location, because that would change this slower pace style that we've seen considerably.
Yeah, it would. I mean, the slower pace style is kind of because of the circles being so friendly, the planes being so friendly to the circles as well. We've had a very nice start to South America. No nastiness, no biting or anything from the circles. It's been very plain, very easy, and that's where we've seen probably the teams that make the best decisions, the best rotations, and the best late game choices come out on top, which has been 6ix9ine. I don't think it will stay like this forever though. I think that things are going to start ramping up pretty rapidly. We've used all of our good luck at the start of this group stage, so who knows, maybe by the end of it we could be seeing all sorts of silly stuff going on.
I mean, I'm personally excited for that, not because, like, that's the problem, right? As a caster, you're just like, yes, I want to see the highest tier of gameplay, because there's something beautiful about watching a team who are just executing everything flawlessly, right? Yeah. They're playing the game in what is objectively the correct way, and they're winning all their duels because of that, right? And that's great fun. But it's also great fun to see a team just crash into a compound with 3 other teams and run in with SMGs and clear them out, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Not the correct way, but certainly an exciting way. And that's sort of the problem, right? In all esports titles is the clash between the team playing everything correctly and, you know, being amazing to watch from their technical execution. And then you have the teams who are just like, yeah, we're not quite doing it right, but we've got the aim to pull it off. Like Pedro, for instance. He should never be winning a 1v3 against Batmen, who've been one of our highest fragging teams in Game 2. But he manages to pull it off. Secures a spray down transfer on a double peak and manages to get out there, get rid of that last player. That's the sort of thing where, yeah, that's not how that's supposed to go. We run that another 10 times Batman win 9, I would say.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
it's the sort of flashy stuff that you really like to see.
We saw a Cream player also pull off a 1v3 or a 3-kill in...
Essentially a 1v3. All of his teammates were knocked.
Yeah,
None
so
of them got confirmed, though.
Those highlight plays, those individual plays are always really fun to see. They create good storylines and good moments, and I want to see more of them. I think there are a lot of star players in the South American region. We've already seen some nice shots and some nice little plays going through. I want to see more. I want to see more big sniper shots as well. When we get onto Vikendi, we might see a bit more of that. Unfortunately...
Because we did have an AWM last map, but it didn't get anything done.
No, it didn't get anything done, unfortunately. We had the MK14 on Miramar as well, but that's more of a DMR than a sniper rifle per se, so...
We had an M24 briefly, I think,
yeah,
for one map, but
it's pretty hard.
The snipers haven't really been getting too much done so far. It's been a lot of assault rifles, a lot of big spray downs, and long-range play. We haven't actually seen... I'm surprised by how few car kills we've seen, given how many times we've had players crossing with cars in front of 3 teams. Yeah,
that's been pretty rare to see a car kill. We've seen a few blow up, but we haven't seen like a 4-man car blow up yet.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Like, most of what we've seen is players who are using cars to take cover.
Yeah.
They get killed by the explosion. We haven't really seen anyone get run down out of their cars just yet. By way of a quick update, by the way, we're just waiting on all the players to jump back in the server and we'll be underway. So shouldn't be too much longer. But in the meantime, we get to talk and theorize, which is always fun.
Mobile PUBG, which is great fun.
It is. It's what we're here for.
Well, it is what we're here for, and we've seen some excellent gameplay so far, and we've got a lot more to cover coming up in the next few weeks. This is going to be such a long tournament, so we're definitely going to get the best of the best and decide who's actually the best. You can't fake 48 games of group stages and then 10 games of playoffs, really. You can't luck your way through that.
Speaking of all of that, by the way, might as well chat about it quickly because we do have the time. If you have just joined the stream and you've missed how we run, or the format of this tournament overall, we start off with the group stages. There's 6 regions, 32 teams per region. It runs the same way for all regions. They're just slightly staggered in time so that, we're not trying to cast 6 games of PUBG simultaneously. So each region, we have 32 teams to start with, 24 games of group stages. We then eliminate the bottom 8. We go 24 teams in the semi-finals. We eliminate the bottom... That's not 24 games, by the way. We eliminate the bottom 8, again, go to regional finals, which is 10 games, 16 teams. So, yeah, so it's a lot more high pressure, I suppose, towards the end of that. And that's where all of these points are going to come in. You get 20 points for first place, 14 for second, 10 for third. Drops off quite quickly, and 1 point per kill as well. So that's been the problem for 6ix9ine. They've been getting double chicken dinners, 40 points in placings, but not getting too much in terms of the kills. It's really just been Pedro carrying them there. And the teams who are really going to put themselves in a high standing, like we saw in Wildcard, where we had a team who finished top 3 every game and they were getting consistent kills. That's the secret formula to be able to push yourself up, is decent to good placings and high kills.
There's high kills. We saw teams getting 11 kills but placing 5th, 6th, 7th earlier, but they were booting all the way up to top 4 of the map because they were getting those high kill points, and other teams were going out in the top 3 or top 4 without any kills or with 1 or 2 kills. And a point is pretty big.
Yeah, I mean,
it's pretty important.
Not to harp on 6ix9ine, but they go from 2 chicken dinners with I think there are 5 to 10 kill chicken dinners, which is not the highest of kills we've seen. And they immediately go out in 6th on the second map. 6th placing is good, but on the third map even, but they get no kills. So they get bumped down to 9th because of it. And that's where these kill points are really going to start to matter. The Batmen have not really been having amazing placings. They had 2 seconds. The third game wasn't so great, but they have been consistently fragging, which is what matters for them. And we are now back in the game. Looks like we're going to reset, play it from the start. The plane this time running north-south down past Novo.
It looks like it's going from Severny Airport to Novo. There's a lot in play here as Yasnaya now becomes an area that people will want to find themselves in.
Could have Rozhok or school drops here as well.
Yeah, Pachinki's still available too. Sovnoskov military base will be eyed up. And we also have Milta Power, the Povka Mansion. All these places are ready and raring to go. I think we'll still see players try and get to Georgiapol. It's not too far away. Probably a little bit of car distance, but this is a decent enough plane. It's not too spicy. Unless we get a quarry circle, then it'll be spicy. But at the moment, it looks like everyone just kind of getting out the plane evenly. No one doubling up too hard. There's not many teams choosing to go east of the plane drop. Not surprising, there's not a lot of real estate there, as KST have chosen Yasnaya as their location of choice.
And we don't have a count right now on how many teams are still in the cabin, but do we have... Okay, we do have one team. Real hung on. They're going to go down to Novo. So will 6ix9ine, actually. So 6ix9ine have been on this prison island pretty consistently every chance they've had, but Real, I think... Actually, no, both teams have been there, but 6ix9ine have been favoring the western side over in the military base itself, with Real going for Novo is what we've seen so far, and they will be doing the same thing here. The circle pops, it's very northern. That's pretty comfortable for most teams, with the exception of those two in the military base.
We already see a kill going out.
The advantage they have in the military base is the loot, and as you say, there is indeed first blood incredibly quickly. That's what the BTM guys getting kills onto two different teams, I believe.
Yeah, Batman coming in strong, I believe. They're getting some kills in the center of the map, near Ruins, Sanhok area. A lot of players going around there. Interesting enough, no hot drop onto the side of the Brazilian Killers this game. There's one player from Brazilian Killers is still in his parachute. He's just dropped.
I just noticed there's 2 teams down in Novo, not one. Batman are continuing to get it done, but it wasn't just Real who's dropped down there. I can't quite see who's down there with them, but there is another team.
It's red, I believe.
Yeah, it is red. So 6ix9ine have got the free loot of the military base, but Real and Red going to be fighting over Novo. In the meantime, Brazilian Killers getting it done as well, starting to find some knocks. So some very early gunfights happening here as the shotgun for Senab is doing some serious
work. He's doing more work too. He's got 2 with that shotgun so far. Yep, that's 2 players from TQ.
Just knocked and confirmed Mystic there from TQ.
He's knocked another player too. He's going to have to confirm that kill.
In the meantime, Cream inside this building, surrounded by the Batmen, who have been getting
and that was one of our kill leaders
done. Yeah,
Axial getting dropped down.
There goes. Finally, he's down to one of the players from TQ, but I think that was 3 drops for him with a shotgun.
Yeah, he ends up getting finished
a
off.
melee kill. Didn't see that very much.
Yeah, he finishes him off with the fists, not wasting any ammunition at all. As we see BTRK now dropping down to 3 players, but TQ, one of our top teams as well, only on 2. So that hot drop there from Senbi, one of our kill leaders as well, has worked out a treat as we see a little engagement going on here. Cream, again, fighting early. Just loops the molly over the wall, but
Batman,
he's alone.
though, are chasing for this kill. Cream, John
The
just
Tommy
about
gun.
going to get away. He might actually have found the dude for the gear. The spray going every which way, but he wasn't sure which way they went there. That'll be a confirmed kill there onto that Batman player, unless this guy coming down the stairs there would help out his teammate. John playing a very dangerous game here, looking for the confirm, but also trying to stay alive.
He's got the Tommy gun in hand too.
Does indeed. Doesn't look like he'll be able to get that commit just yet, but he actually
he's
could go
going
find the confirm, yeah. His teammates left him, unfortunately for Kamal there. His teammates left him, but there is the backup from outside, and that will be a confirm as well. So John goes down for Cream. They've lost 2 players now, I believe, but Batman will also bleed 1.
It's a lot of early kills going on in this game. We didn't expect it. South America's been pretty slow so far, but it's all kicking off now as we have squads already wounded. As Cream and Batman contest the same water town. This town can be deceptive with the amount of loot it has. A lot of buildings, but sometimes it doesn't give you the most loot. We can see a player running around with a pistol with a laser sight on it.
A pistol and a shotty. Not exactly ideal. I mean, maybe in these buildings you can make this work, but you're certainly looking much more for the SMGs and ARs. That's been the standard go-to loadout, with the exception of crate weapons. It's pretty much all we've seen is SMGs and ARs so far out of these mobile teams. The occasional DMR as well, but it seems to be a pretty heavy AR meta for the time being.
Certainly does seem to be pretty heavy for the ARs. As we see squads start to rotate now as they've completed their looting. There's not much to write home about. Red have tried to get off the military island, leaving Real in Novo alone.
They are rotating into XG and DRM though, so potential for something to be a little bit difficult there. And 6ix9ine for their part, of course, have had free run of the entire military base on the island for the entirety of the game so far. For the last 5 minutes, they've just been able to run around looting stress-free. So you want to hope they're pretty well equipped now, and they are getting ready to go for that rotation. Hold on. TQ going to fight this?
They
look
are
like
the
they're going to go
two-man
camp
squad
the
now.
bridge. Yeah, so they're going to try and camp the bridge and see if they can clean up 6ix9ine, but no, never mind. They are moving on. Maybe just stop there to grab another vehicle so they can have 2. Looks like that's what they've done. They've got 2 vehicles rather than both players in 1.
Looks like they're rotating towards Ferry Pier, maybe trying to pick up a little bit extra loot, find a different angle to rotate into the zone. They don't want to go through
over here yet, so they could go potentially Ferry Loot Primorsk. That's all not been looted yet, so potential for them to go up this western side of the map and try and wind up in the zone, as you say.
I think they're very worried about going into that north road and going into Pachinki where BTRK are. They'll know that BTRK are there. They'll want to avoid them because you don't really want to be getting into fights with these top teams super early. You want to kind of just get into the circle position and maybe hope for some of these bottom teams to come through your way. Try and get some free kills essentially. As XG now rotating in a car, 3-man in the car, 1 on foot up ahead.
They've got another car now, so they'll get out and diversify their holdings. don't want to be all taken down into one car, so they will start to split up now, which is a smart play. As much as it can be efficient to have all players in the same vehicle and moving, you don't want to put yourself in that risky situation. Real, for their part, 2 vehicles, 2 in each. They've got a car and a buggy. Moving on out and getting their rotation started as well. They are heading over to the western bridge of the military island as well. So 6-9, depending on their timings, might be able to catch them out, but it looks like Adino is going to be out of the way before Real get over there.
Yeah, he'll get just across the bridge, but Real are a little bit later than I expected. I expected them to go to the eastern bridge too.
Yeah, you think they go to the bridge right up top of.
Yeah, but maybe they're a bit scared of teams playing around Milta, playing around Farm, taking advantage of that angle. As Red have rotated up in towards Pachinki almost. 6-9 are close on their heels. There's a lot of teams inside the circle now. There's not a lot of teams stuck outside. TQ are the ones in a bit of a awkward position. You can see a spray down comes in straight away. HD finally getting some kills on the board. They've had a really rough day.
They really have, but if they can confirm one of Batman here, maybe 2 if he can find that second frag, then that would certainly be a good start. Batman have been one of the squads up in the kill leaderboards, looking pretty good so far. So if they can find some knocks here, that would be much better for them.
Have got a man knocked out of themselves, so while it's good on one side.
He's about to bleed out as well, so they're not going to be able to recover him. That's one player going down for hard drop. Unfortunately, Trevina not able to be recovered.
Looks like he's trying to push for this flush on the side of hard drop as well. Maybe opening himself to an angle he doesn't want to peek. Although it does look like the team of Batman just hanging out, just waiting. As that kill does get finished off, and Batman will retreat down to 1 player, it seems.
Yeah,
for Batman.
They have 3 men now?
Yeah, they only got 3 into the lobby, unfortunately for them. But life goes on. Still getting 3 kill points off having a 3-man squad. It's not the worst result.
Ooh, hard. He's stuck between 4 hard drop players. It looks like he's just found his way out, but needs to have gone up at this point. Trying to use the see around the corner and goes for the peak, but this is so far going all INF's way. HD, they had pretty good positions here for those hard drop boys, but they are starting to be taken down now. Somehow been able to find that jewel. And that's going to be hard drop down to just 1 player at this point. They're all going to get confirmed.
Yeah, it is. And INF are just running over the top of them now. They know that there's only 1 player remaining. If they go together, they can push him out pretty easily. Won't be enough to take the player down.
Should just be a peak spray down sort of deal. Maybe find for 1 knock. No, we'll get taken down in the end. So that's hard drop out in 16th place once again.
We do have the circle shifting. It was a hard south shift too. So Milta's still in play, school's still in play, apartments there. Still some Rozhok, Yasnaya. There's still so much real estate in this circle. I don't think any team will be too concerned. There's no real hard rotations in at the moment. There's still some teams up in George Paul hanging out, finishing up their loot, but they should be able to rotate in off Rozhok Bridge pretty easily, maybe even north of Rozhok if they aren't feeling too confident. Lots of early combat here means there's lots of space in this following circle. Not a lot of water in play either, so there's still lots of area to play in. Pachinki's still there too.
Police have joined the fight here for the team of Ace.
Yep, there's 1 player flips a card to his side.
That was a big old roll. Gonna guess he's recovered that. Looks like they're all still moving, having a look at the map, so should be okay for there.
So Ace coming out of Yasnaya Field, they'll be greeted by KST. If they keep going south, they'll get into Intz and TRM. Alright. Don't know if this fight's going to go well.
If everyone jumps in that vehicle for Intz, that could be rough. And they do move it out of the way just in time. Still looking for these peaks.
We have a massive fight brewing in Pachinki at the moment. There's those 5 squads on top of each other. Brazilian killers have been there the whole time, and they're starting to get some kills. Yeah, they got get the knock onto 6, who are trying to rotate through. Pedro is booking it on what looks to be a bike. He is running straight to the center of that zone.
Once again, it's Pedro off on his own. His teammates not really with him, hoping they can pick up something here, but it looks like they're pinned down. The grenades coming through. Brazilian Killer's going to run out here and grab the confirms onto these 2 players who are knocked. So it's Myth and Pedro. Once again, 6-9. At least they've got themselves... Actually, no, I didn't see if they had any kills or not. But still down 2 players early on. Despite having 2 chicken dinners, they need to figure something out here to have a little bit more consistency in the kill counts, or else they're going to lose that lead quite quickly.
Ooh, shot from that M24 doesn't quite land. Would have been a nice shot, big distance. Can be hard to hit those though. As you see the squad starting to rotate now into the center of the circle. Still that Pachinki fight going on. Teams rotating north of Pachinki will miss the Brazilian killers, which is kind of what you want to do at this stage. You don't want to be fighting them. As you see another knock coming through is 6.
That's a confirm, not a knock.
Okay.
I believe. So I think 6ix9ine still have 2 players. I think it was Myth and Pedro they had.
Yep.
What is that angle? Outside the window?
Of apartments. Yeah, he's
me.
pretty easy to spot if you are on the hill south of the apartments. But
if you're inside, you have no way of seeing it until you came to the window and he's going to see you first.
No, not at all.
Might work out in his favor as long as no one sneaks up behind them. And it does look like the INF players are not going to go behind that building. So it's a risky play for that Batman, the last Batman player, but could pay off. You need to do something kind of gimmicky in a spot like this when you 1v3.
Yeah, you'd expect a bat to be up in that higher place, wouldn't you? Just hanging out.
They'd probably be inside, upside down, rather than outside in the window, but, you know.
Yeah, they don't like the sun that much, actually.
No.
And he's out there bathing in it.
Oh, unfortunately, he's been found out. There you go. So they must have rotated around the building. That will be the Batman out in 15th, I believe. That's
a poor
early
finish.
elim for them. So 2 really good games, 2 not so hot games, and I think it's going to be a similar story for 6ix9ine now, who are down to 2 players after getting a double chicken dinner early on. At least their 2 players are mostly together, but
not for long. Pedro's on the move again.
I want to see them sticking together a bit more. I know Pedro can make the plays, but you let him go off by himself last map, and he didn't manage to get everything done for it. Ended up going down to the zone, so I don't know. I'd like to see 6ix9ine try and stick together a bit more if they can. The zone going to move in a little bit, so we need to get these rotations happening, but most teams will be fine. High-end just moving into the bottom now, and there you go, Pedro. He's found himself his first knock, so if he is going to be able to get the kills, then sure.
He is 1v4 here, though. He is bitten off a lot.
I've got to stop doing this. Where's his teammate?
He's been given the level 3 helmet. He's entrusted with the goods. Nades come out, but it's not going to quite knock. He could get a nice nade here, but he's aiming a little bit to the right.
Yeah, it looks like that's a little bit too far off. This next one, though, that looks good if he puts it there, but not sure exactly where to end it, and I think that could be good.
Oh, he always knocks that man.
Onto Reef. Oh, if he'd put a grenade into that smoke, that would have been it. That would have been a confirm and a knock. That could be it. That should be a confirm, actually. There's the knock, even. They throw out another grenade of their own, but Pedro, another grenade in the same spot.
They're leaving their man.
They are indeed leaving him. So that's a free confirm for Pedro. Ends the spray into the car. He's not going to get too much from it, but that's 2 players that can be confirmed by Pedro now. They haven't been able to get either res, and that's the power of this guy. They know he's clutched out 2 games. Everyone is terrified of Pedro if they end up 1vx against him.
He will not find the man as he's lost in the source right now, thinking he's in the smokes, but he's not.
And either way, their teammates aren't going to be able to res him, so those players will go down. It's just a matter of if Pedro can grab those kill points or not, and there we go. He does find Reef, so putting in work for his team once again. Still 46 alive, though, and yeah, it is need the Batman out in 15th place. XG putting some grenades in onto PDZ, but not getting too much from it just yet, as they do have the HP advantage, and that car is very risky indeed.
It'll be the gunfire actually doing the damage there. More gunfire onto these cars. There's so many dropping at the moment. INF are in the kill feed, all on the left-hand side, getting some big kills as PDZ actually ends up...
kill?
No, he ends up running into a tree and blowing himself up, I believe. He was very low in that car, so maybe make a mistake, hit a rock, and go down. Not the way you want to end your game.
Exactly not. 13 teams remaining, as I do believe that is them out now with that car crash. Which is unfortunate. INF controlling the top of the hill here. XG need to bunker down at this point. Figure out a way out. We do have some smoke cover and potentially some vehicles to be found, but nothing too extreme just yet.
Still the cream players on the outside of the circle, doing the really long rotation in as the circle pops, and it is more of a hills shift. There's a lot of hill and a lot of forest in this circle. There's not a lot of room to maneuver. A lot of teams alive still, 13, 42 players. Pedro's in the circle. It's good news for Team 6ix9ine. But he is on the edge, and there will be squads approaching from his angle. Brazilian killers on the northern side. Unfortunately for them, the northern side of the circle is absolutely packed.
Yeah, actually all of these teams are pretty much rotating the same way. The IN guys, if they go really far west, they might find a sneaky way into the back of the circle. But the majority of players are all coming in from the north and from the east. So the rotations could all crash into each other at this point. And Intz,
looks like it is.
actually, yeah, look, Intz are trying to go all the way down and around. They've seen there's multiple teams in front of them. They're trying to sneak around behind them. Bad Bunny, by the way, gets confirmed by the zone.
And that looks like
and
Cream
I believe
out.
that is Cream out. Yeah, exactly that. Didn't want to go for it by the looks of things. Yeah, Intz are trying to go all the way around the bottom side of this circle. DRM, though, in a bit of a gunfight with these red players, and there's INF coming in as well. The backstabs, teams moving all over each other at this point. Everyone getting sprayed down. INF onto XG as well, finding
They're having a
themselves a couple of frags.
But Brazilian Killers are going to crash this party, I believe. They're coming up just over the hill now. They're going to hear this gunfire and try and get themselves involved. They are only a 3-man squad at the moment, though, Brazilian Killers.
But look at all of these teams rotating in. There's Intz coming in to crash the party as well. DRM coming in behind INF. Intz behind them. Backstabs upon backstabs at this point. Good shooting here from these red players to knock out Ink and almost gifted
Straight
one, actually.
He's
Gifted
gifted
one. He gifted one for free. That's the knock and the confirm. Unfortunately, no more damage you can put into that car. It's already been blown up, but there's the flanks coming in. Real are going to grab themselves a few kills as well. There's a whole bunch of kills going each way. The AFL getting involved as well.
At the moment, it is those KSC players that have found themselves in this more central position of the zone as this fight breaks out. And now we start to see the Brazilian Killers activate. They're onto INF. They've noticed the amount of players that they have, the amount of utility they've expended, and they've managed to push in and find themselves some easy kills. As TQ now getting involved, and Intz's day is getting worse on the south side. They have had a very poor day on the side of Intz.
Grenade comes in from Real as well to knock down another. So 34 alive still as the circle does begin to shrink in and collapse around, or the zone I should say begins to shrink in and collapse. Still a lot of players hanging out around the extremities of the circle, but Brazilian Killers look like they've cleaned up most of their flanking work, bought them some space for themselves, and just trying to spot out the last couple teams.
Looks like they've scared INF off to go into the center of the circle. Aces sitting in a compound, 4 strong, still in the circle, so they're probably in the best position right now. They haven't had to fight too much. They haven't had to do anything, really. They are taking shots onto TQ, I believe it is. But at the moment, it is that southern side of the circle that's packed. 6-9 have managed to find themselves an area to play around. TQ as well on the eastern side of the circle, looking pretty.
Worth noting as well that Intz were originally right behind Brazilian Killers going for that backstab, but decided they didn't want any. They've got out. They're just now coming into an empty section of the circle. So they bought themselves some space here, but that is not a good circle shift for any of these teams down the bottom. It goes very far north. Brazilian Killers already inside the circle. The INF boys who are running away from that also have found some cover, but Ace in their compound are going to be forced out. All the players in the bottom right-hand side of the zone are going to be forced out. There is 4 teams down there. Red, INF, DRM, and Real, all with players in the bottom part of this zone right on the edge here, and there's going to be some pretty big fights here. You can see on your screen just how many players are all in the same area and nowhere near the circle.
They're ready to making a mad dash for it in the cars. They're running straight past the players from TQ and the 6-9 player from Myth. We'll be able to get some spam in here. Pedro is activated again. This is a risky lands it though,
okay,
so it's okay. No players getting dropped down in that spray though. They managed to get past those 2 6-9 players pretty scot-free. As one of the players from Reds gets knocked down. XG finishes him off.
And there's Pedro again, another knock. Not able to get the confirm just yet, but he's once again here putting in work. He had a bit of a quiet game 2 or 3 as did the rest of his team with no kills for anyone, and they've already lost 2 players 6-9, but Pedro is playing pretty well here once again now, starting to get his kills happening. INF grabbing themselves a couple as well as Real.
DR hurting here. They might go out next. There's 3 of them have got knocked down. Can't see them lasting much longer in this lobby if they keep this up. They tried to crash the center of the circle, and they've got that 1 player now on the southern side just hanging out. Brazilian Killers might get an engagement onto Intz here, but it is Ace. Being pressured by Red.
Pedro again with another knockdown and a confirm as well.
Too, yeah, they've actually managed to find themselves pretty central in the circle at the moment, 6-9. So they're giving themselves the best opportunity. We'll have to see if anyone notices them, picks them off. They are only 2 players remaining for that squad. As Myth drops down, so it is just Pedro. It's all on Pedro once more.
For the third, no, actually fourth time. He's always been the last one up for his team. He's delivered twice so far. Clutch out 2 chicken dinners.
There
but
he
now
goes.
there he goes. 6-9 out once again. This time they do grab themselves a couple of kills. Not sure how many, but I'm guessing it would have been probably 4 or 5. So things aren't too bad. But again, only the 1 placement point for them going out in 12th place. So another low scoring game. I think they got 6 points from both the last 2 games. Something like that. Mini Uzi at that range is ambitious.
Very ambitious. There's more smokes coming out for Ace. They're just trying to guard themselves. You can see them proning in the ground. They don't have much cover to work with. These long shots of Red are coming through, and they're getting good spam too as he takes out 1 from TQ. Gets the finish 2, stolen actually by INF. Red.
Double steals from INF.
He's stealing everything at the
TQ,
moment.
Team Queso go out in 11th place.
Next
Getting
shift,
a lot of damage
next
too.
circle shift comes in, and it's favouring these Brazilian killers, guys. They've chosen the right rotation at the moment, and they're still 3 strong. Of course, they had 1 player drop very early on in the game, but since then they've been playing pretty passive, and it's been paying off for them as they start to engage onto X. Managed to knock 1 man down as the sprays come in. It's Ace with the only team with 4 alive. They're in a pretty rough position. It's IND getting knocked out too. Ace starting to appear in the kill feed, and that is more kills to the side of Brazilian killers. Up to 7 at the moment, 19 alive. Could be a big game for them to finish off the day.
Certainly could be. Ace, again, do have that player advantage, but they're all pinned down, having to use all of their smokes to try and buy themselves some space, try and find a way into a safer area for themselves. And so far, they've not really been able to get too much. At least they have found some cover, but they're going back to proning in the grass to try and sneak away. And you can see there, they're pretty much surrounded on all sides. Admittedly, of course, every team has this problem. Every team is cross-firing every other one.
Yeah, at the moment, the teams with the best positions would look to be Brazilian killers. They have a side pretty much to themselves. Yeah, they've got the side of XG there, but they know they've already knocked one of those players out before. So the armor, the health is going to be low on that side. And they're pretty confident up against those guys. XG haven't had the most fantastic day. Obviously, Brazilian killers are a very accomplished squad. So they'll back themselves in there. As Ace just throwing out the last of their smokes. Surely they don't have many left. Feels like they've been smoking for days down here.
Not good for your health, mate, smoking for that long, but
No.
it's getting them some cover. And Ace, Trace once again being ambitious with the mini Uzi, but it's obviously always, no, it's not all he's got. There's an assault rifle on his shoulder.
I think he might be saving the ammo of that assault rifle for later.
Most likely, just trying to save it for engagements he knows he can hit, and just getting some suppressing fire out with the high fire rate SMG. Circle once again, or the zone I should say, beginning to move, but pretty much everyone inside it now.
Do see Red poking their heads out, but we still have an M24 on the side of Brazilian killers, scouting everything out. The last player from DR just chilling out at the moment, just kind of snaking in.
But that zone is going to come, and
he's cooking
he's
this
the only
nade.
one here.
This
He's
could be a
indeed.
big nade. Oh, it does so much damage to both of them. He goes for the spray down on the 1 player. He gets 1, but will he get traded out? He will.
Will indeed. And
that kill probably won't be confirmed. KST will manage to pick up their friend. The zone might move in. That might be their only problem.
Mendigod with a penta, 5 kills for the game for him so far. Still Ace with 4 players up, I should say. Brazilian killers is pretty healthy with 3, and Ace now under a lot of pressure from these remaining red players. And I think everyone's going to be pretty much focusing Ace where they can at this point, as they know they're the 4-man squad. They know they're still up. The circle shifts eastward away from everyone except for Ace and INF. So a little bit of a saving grace for the guys with 4 players still alive, but a lot yet to be done. And the problem with this zone is we are pushing slowly up onto the summit of this hill. Cover is going to be limited to essentially smokes and a few trees in a couple of minutes.
See all the smokes that these Brazilian killers players are throwing out. Ace's cover is essentially cars and smokes. Not exactly the most reliable cover. As an Ace player actually does get a kill with that mini Uzi, as we mentioned earlier.
That's 2 red players down now. That's going to be red knocked out if those get confirmed.
See more kills. Brazilian killers actually taking a blow too, losing a player. So they're down to 2 at the moment if they can't get that res off. Red are causing lots of problems at the moment. As they knock a player from Ace. There is only 1 red player alive as one gets confirmed by the Ace squad. So now we drop into lots of 2-mans and lots of 3-man squads remaining.
Ace, Brazilian Killers, and Intz, all with 3 players. And we haven't really seen too much from Intz so far. They've essentially been playing the rotation game, trying to catch people out. KST is going to grab one of those Intz players with Black Hammer, grabbing the frag there as well. And Intz, they've waited, but have they waited too long? They're locked behind smokes now. INF spraying away at KST, and will just get the knock from the Black Hammer behind that smoke. Not able to confirm it, though. The spray a little bit too wild, not going to find its mark, but now things start to get a little bit more difficult. Brazilian Killer's going to lose a player. He's already found himself 6 kills this game. Those are big sprays, pretty on point for him as well. Now Intz get involved, but trades come through from KST, going both directions. 11 kills for INF so far this game. Very big plays from them. Red, 2 players crawling desperately to their head of the zone, and Brazilian Killers should be getting these confirms here in just a second.
They're down to 1 player on the Brazilian Killers. It is 1 player left on the side of Brazilian Killers.
And Ace, 3 people now to the 1 of every other team, unless Red can get a res across, which they shouldn't be able to do. Ace might just have booked themselves a chicken dinner here, purely through waiting out the duels and playing the man advantage. They've still got 3 up to the 1 of every other team.
And they played the cards so well as Brazilian Killers. Last player gets knocked out. There's only 2 teams remaining. It's a 3v1. We've seen it happen before, but there's no Pedro.
It is Mendigo though, and he's already got 6 or 7 kills so far this game. He's been playing well, but Ace, 3 players still up, 2 on full HP. It's a lot of work to be done here for Mendigo. Not to say it isn't doable for him. He does have the crate right next to him, so possibility of some increase or some better gear, maybe a big
Looks
gun
like
or something.
Picked up that level 3 armor.
Yeah, the crate still hasn't been opened, but does have level 3 armor. The Molotov going to go out and quite going to get exactly where it needs to go, but still has cover for now, and that zone is shifting, unfortunately for him, towards the Ace players.
It doesn't look like he knows where the Ace players are either, checking all these angles that nobody's home in. Looks like he's a bit clueless at the moment. The Ace players also checking angles that nobody exists in. Spraying.
I'll give him a bit of info into where these Ace guys are playing from. I think he might have spotted 1 picking up behind the rock there. Yeah, he did. Looking for that angle, but yeah, he looking some up like multiple players confirmed, and there we go. It's Ace who will grab the final chicken dinner of the South American region with an 8-kill game for themselves. INF had a big game as well. 2nd place and 11 kills.
Yeah. Red
Pretty
also
happy with that one.
have a pretty decent game in there. Looks like they got, what?
8 kills?
8 kills, yeah. So, I mean, a lot of high kill games. I mean, mid to high kill games with 8s and 10s all around. So, that was good well played. It's got 8 kills again on the Brazilian Killer squad as well. So, lots of kills to be shared around. Doesn't look like one team dominated the map. That was a nice, tight ending circle, but you got a feel for the boys going out early in that one.
Yeah, there was a lot of early fights, and a lot of fights that you thought were going one way. Like, I didn't think Wendigo to win that, or Mendigo even would win that at all, but he managed to find his way into the 180 to clean that one up. And look, it's Ace who get themselves their first win of the board, and I think that will be even their first really high placing as well.
Yeah, we haven't seen much from them today. They've really got themselves into some good positions, especially on Miramar, where they had a nice position in credit, but they weren't able to close it out. So it's good to see that they have the ability to close it out. What I like from there is something we haven't seen so far in the qualifiers or in this tournament, is the fact that they use the cars as cover so much, and they also use the smokes pretty effectively as well. But you saw them blowing their own cars up, so they became that cover and they weren't a threat to them. And that was well played by them, making the correct decisions. They making that car wall, meaning that you have cover from one side of the map.
Yeah, especially when it is in those final couple of circles and the circles are getting so tight. You don't need the cars for anything else. You're not about to do a big vehicle rotate, so it makes sense to blow them up, use them for cover. And that way, you know, if you blow them up and the enemy team can't blow them up on you, on an enemy team I should say, it's not just one, but it gives you some safe cover to hide behind, and a lot of smoke's thrown out from them as well. And very patient in the final 3v1 too. They could have just rushed and tried to get the kill, but we saw what happened when Batman did that to Pedro, committed with 2 players for the kill, and he took down both, managing to win a 1v3. So played it patiently, played it together. It's pretty much what you want in an XV1 sort of situation where you've got multiple players up and there's only one enemy remaining. It's just play it slow, play it safe, confirm the chicken dinner. You know it's yours at that point. You just got to be safe and take it.
Just got to have some discipline, not go in there and try and chase the kill for your own little stats. So well played by Ace to pick up the last chicken dinner of the day for the South America region. I'm excited to see how our scoreboard looks at the end of this. I know that Batman didn't have a fantastic game. 6ix9ine didn't have a fantastic game either, so there's going to be some movements. I think that Brazilian Killers should be our leader at the moment.
We'll have to have a look when we get there, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting the story that the 3rd and 4th games have told as opposed to the first 2. The first 2 were 6-9 won both, admittedly not super high kill chicken dinners, but they got double chicken dinners back-to-back. Batman, second place back-to-back as well, and then both teams went pretty much missing. At least Pedro had himself another decent game, pardon me, on Erangel the second time we played it in the game we just finished, but still his team was pretty quiet, and Batman I think went out like really early on, like 15th or something, didn't they?
Yeah, they had a really rough game, Batman. They didn't have any structure, they didn't get anything. They had picked some fights early on that they just didn't win, and they were left with one player who was hiding up in those apartment windows, and he ended up going down pretty quickly after that.
Yeah, he did get found out. It might have been a nice little Hail Mary position to be in, but
yeah.
I think it was the INF players just went out behind the building and actually checked it, and nothing much he could do from there. So I think things will have shifted a little bit from the first two games, and indeed from where we expected them to be. I thought for sure that 6-9 were just going to keep going, having good results, and Batman were going to be consistently fragging, because that's what they did the first two maps. Not only did they get second, but they were getting consistent kills as well. But it's Brazilian killers with a chicken dinner in Game 3 and a high kill performance in Game 4, like 8 kills or something for them there, as well as a
top
4th
four,
or 5th place, yeah, something like that. So they'll be looking pretty good as well when we do get to the leaderboard. So look, we've had a clear shift in the day, haven't we? We had first two games and then second two, which were very, very different properties.
Yeah, and you like to see that. You like to see how players adapt, teams adapt, and overcome the situations that they've been given. That obviously 6-9 had a very slow playstyle where they were looking to get as many people into the late game as possible, then get as much information for their star player as possible. And that was working for them in the first two games. In the third game, didn't work out at all. In the fourth game, unfortunately, they lost two of the players that were gathering the information. They ended up having a two-player split with Myth and Pedro for the majority of the game. And Batman, they weren't able to carry on with the fragging potential that they had in the first two games, and that really slowed them down. Brazilian Killers finally got their stuff together in the last two games of the day. I was expecting big things for them to start off with, but unfortunately they took a little bit of while to warm up.
They went out really early in the first couple of games, so good to see them like get back into things. They are, of course, the winners of last split, albeit with a few roster changes, but still, the winners of last split, the defending champions, as it were, and admittedly, of course, it's still very early in our group stage here of this region, let alone the entire tournament, but we'll now have a quick look at the scoreboard as it stands. This is the scoreboard for Game 4. 8 kills for Ace, 28 points altogether, but worth noting, INF, Influence Rage, 25 points for them, only 3 points behind first place with 14 points for second and 11 kills.
That's a very good performance from them, 11 kill. Not quite a chicken dinner, but they'll be still happy with that, and that comes off the back of Mendigod, I believe, who had an outstanding game. Brazilian Killers taking 4th place with 8 kill points. Red Candids are there again. They've been consistently top. It's nice to see Intz up on the scoreboard too, getting some placement points. They didn't get the kills they would have liked, but to see them up there as well. And then you see Batman, 6-9, they only managed to get 2 kills.
Hard drop, another rough game for them, unfortunately.
I don't think they've had a good game just yet. No. I think they've been in that 11 to 16 bracket the whole time. And here we see the leaders, Brazilian Killers.
You're right.
2 above 6-9, and then we have Ace in 3rd with 54. So this top group is still pretty together. I mean, one chicken dinner is 20 points, and one chicken dinner separates pretty much the whole pack from 1 to 5.
Yep. I mean, look at the kill difference as well. Brazilian Killer is nearly with a 30 bomb, one chicken dinner off 4 games. Batman and Team Queso both also consistently with the kills, 24 points for them, but the biggest thing that stands out to me is 6-9 are in second with 2 chicken dinners, yet they have the lowest amount of kills in the top 8.
Yeah, they've been consistent with the placing, and it's scary to see that if they don't have those games with the placings, they just plummet in the rankings as we see the bottom half of the table. Hard drop, unfortunately, bringing up the rear. Only 8 points for the day. That's not something you want to be going home with at all.
1 kill and 1 point of placement per game, which is on average, which is certainly not ideal for them. Intz yet to have a decent showing either. They have moved up a little bit, and this bottom part of the pack has been pretty much the same overall.
These are the teams.
Exactly. These are the teams that this group C and D. We will see them tomorrow, of course. And Pedro still manages to stay on top as our kill leader with a decent game for himself there on Erangel the second time around. Brazilian Killers with 2 players now in the top 5, 1 kill apart, and of course, Batman and TQ. I mean, those are our kill leaders, right? Pedro's had himself a couple of really big games to start with, which is why he's up in first. But then it's been Brazilian Killers, Batman, and TQ who are up there with the kills. 29 for Brazilian Killers, 24 each for Batman and TQ. So those are our kill leaders, and then it's just Pedro staying out in front with some heroic
performances. He's doing some heavy lifting too. He's got 11 of the 15 kills of his squad. So in
4 games, that's insane.
They need to rise up with Pedro, you know. It's all good having one player being that star and enabling him, but if you're not going with him or helping him as much as you can. It's pretty rough stuff for 6-9. We'll have to see how they bounce back in the next sort of A versus C group stage.
Exactly that, but that's going to be in a couple of days. Tomorrow we are back with Group C versus Group D. But that's going to do it here for us at PMCO 2019, the fall split, having a look at the South American region. We will be back at the same time tomorrow to make sure that you catch and subscribe to the PUBG Esports or PUBG Mobile Esports YouTube channel even. But until that point, we are back tomorrow with more South American games. We'll see you then.